Chapter 668. So a rapist has appeared in the Red Dust sect? Yes. I heard that he even peeked at the three saintesses bathing. Last night, he was even more daring and directly kidnapped a saintess. How did he enter the Red Dust sect? Are you sure this is true? Without a doubt. My third brother-in-law's neighbor's granddaughter is a disciple of the Red Dust sect. This is absolutely true. That's right, it can't be fake. The Red Dust sect has already issued a bounty of 5 million spirit stones for the rapist's capture. Dingyang City was not far from the Red Dust sect. When Mu Yu entered the city, he discovered that the Red Dust sect's people were conducting an investigation there. Now that Miao Yuyan had been kidnapped by the rapist, not only did it cause a stir in the entire Red Dust sect, it also caused a stir in the entire cultivation world. Many people with lofty ideals stood out in righteous indignation, swearing to capture the rapist and bring him to justice, saving Fairy Hong Chun from the abyss of suffering. Mu Yu's portraits were plastered all over the streets and alleys. Every now and then, one of them would blow into his face as he walked down the street. Damn, can't they hire someone with better drawing skills? How can they catch me when they paint me like this? Also, I'm clearly a proper flower lover. How did I become a rapist here? Mu Yu muttered unhappily as he reached out to grab a wanted poster that had been blown by the wind. That's right. It's impossible to catch you when you're painted like this. You're not that handsome, Xiao Shuai said as he carefully examined the portrait. Do you want to die? I'm more handsome than the portrait, okay? Mu Yu expressionlessly stared at Xiao Shuai. Mu Yu raised his eyebrows. I'll take care of the drumstick for now. I've taken a closer look. Mu Yu, you are indeed more handsome than the portrait. Xiao Shuai immediately put on a cute smile. What are you talking about? Dragon Vine swung her tail. I despise the two of you. In short, regardless of whether Mu Yu was more handsome or the portrait was more handsome, this portrait was about the same as Mu Yu. Mu Yu could only use the array pattern to disguise himself again, trying his best to disguise himself as a passerby. He felt that he had no choice but to conceal his identity wherever he went. After asking a person on the street, Mu Yu found out the location of the relay station for the people of the Gate of Hell in Dingyang City. Thus, he quickly arrived at the entrance of an empty and somewhat eerie courtyard. The rest of the 8 gates relay stations were all luxurious lofts that specialized in doing business. Only the Gate of Hell's relay station was like a memorial hall for the dead. It looked terrifying. The Gate of Hell's relay station was located in a small alley. There was basically no one in the alley. Presumably, no one would come here for a stroll. The relay station was surrounded by dense ghost aura. This ghost aura might be useful to other people, but to Mu Yu it was just nourishment for Mu Ling. He directly entered the relay station. Before he even took 2 steps, a Japanese person had already jumped out. Stop, this is the sacred place for the people of the Gate of Hell, blah blah. Before he could even finish his opening speech, Mu Yu directly used the god's soul wood to control this out-of-body stage Japanese person. Following that, a few other Japanese people rushed out. They were too weak and did not catch Mu Yu's attention. After all, the relay station was located in an important city. It was convenient for people to receive their own people. The cultivation level of the people stationed at the relay station was generally not high. It felt like it was very rare for an out-of-body stage Japanese person to appear here. Did Gue cherishing life come here? Mu Yu's god soul wood was not to be trifled with. I don't know anyone who cherishes their lives, but a body integration stage cultivator did come here 3 days ago. However, he left without saying anything. The out-of-body stage cultivator from the ghost sect said truthfully. Didn't say anything? Mu Yu pondered for a moment. Gue cherishing life had probably appeared in this place after falling from the spacetime rift. However, he chose to leave directly and did not even explain his intentions. If Mu Yu's guess was correct, Gui cherishing life should understand that if he wanted to know who had stolen the soul transference, he could not warn his fellow sect members in this spacetime that the soul transference was about to be lost. Otherwise, once the people in this spacetime received a warning that someone was going to steal the soul transference, they would probably guard it strictly. At that time, the thief would not be able to succeed. After returning to the original spacetime, they would still not know where the soul transference was. This was a matter of two different spacetime. If Gui cherishing life wanted to know the identity of the thief, he could not interfere with the progress of this spacetime. This was a little troublesome. He did not know where Gui cherishing life had gone. Therefore, he had no way of knowing who Gui cherishing life was looking for. Could it be that he had secretly gone to the gate of hell? Mu Yu was unable to obtain any information from the people from the gate of hell. He originally wanted to kill the people from the gate of hell. However, he thought that he could not interfere with this spacetime. Therefore, he chose to erase their memories. According to the people from the gate of hell, he planned to head to the gate of hell to investigate. Mu Yu had transmigrated 34 years ago. In these 34 years, the three continents did not change much. Although Mu Yu had been in the three continents for a long time, he could actually count the number of places he had been to. Mu Yu had never been to the location of the gate of hell before. He could vaguely remember the approximate direction. However, after he left Dingyang City, he knew that he had made another mistake. He was lost. What the f***ck? I get lost no matter where I go. Can't they just let me make a proper trip? Mu Yu muttered. He was originally thinking if he should return to Dingyang City to capture a Japanese to lead the way. However, when he thought about what he wanted to do, it was related to the people from the gate of hell. Therefore, he decided not to take the risk. If this Japanese's disappearance attracted the attention of the people from the gate of hell, it would delay the plans of the all-powerful thief sage. Then, he would have come for nothing. How do you think the thief sage managed to sneak into the gate of hell? The gate of hell definitely has a tribulation-passing stage existence. The soul returned to the heart is their most valuable treasure. It is amazing that it could be stolen, Xiao Shui said. It's hard to say. It could be one of the people from the gate of hell. Long Ting guessed. It shouldn't be one of the people from the gate of hell. If it was one of their own who stole it, they would definitely know who this person is. However, from the tone of Gui Pai Ming and his twins, they don't even know who this person is, Mu Yu guessed. He was currently flying towards the north, according to the direction that Miao Yuyan had pointed out. However, 1,000 miles was actually just a matter of a few hours for Mu Yu. However, he still took a wrong turn in the end. It was really unbearable to let a person with a poor sense of direction wander around in an unfamiliar place. However, as he walked, he became more and more familiar with the surrounding terrain. Ah, Mu Yu, how did you end up in Deadwood Daddy's Valley? Xiao Shui shouted in surprise. Mu Yu scratched his nose. I was wondering why this path was so familiar. So this is how it is. He stood outside Deadwood Valley with mixed feelings. He thought back to the first time he walked into Deadwood Valley. He didn't know anything and just barged in. He even robbed Deadwood Daddy's residence. However, at this time, Deadwood Valley wasn't a place with a foul atmosphere. It even had beautiful mountains and clear waters. The scenery was pleasant. Deadwood Daddy hadn't renovated this place yet. Since we're already here, let's go in and see what's going on. We can also sneak a look at Deadwood Daddy, Mu Yu said as he rushed into the valley. There were no formations in the valley. A clear river flowed around the valley. However, when Mu Yu arrived at the place where the celestial demon tree used to be, he realized that there was no sign of the celestial demon tree. What's going on? Deadwood Daddy hasn't come here yet? Mu Yu muttered. The celestial demon tree was transplanted from another place. The renovation was also done after Miao Yuyan was imprisoned by the Red Dust sect. It seemed that this valley was still an ownerless place. What a pity! I wanted to see what Deadwood Daddy looked like 34 years ago, Muyu said with some regret. However, just as he was about to leave the valley, a powerful aura suddenly came from afar. Then, the entire valley became somewhat austere. This aura was very familiar. Muyu quickly realized who it was. Oh my god! It's Deadwood Daddy! Muyu was very excited. When he saw Deadwood Daddy again, he actually had the urge to run over and give him a big hug. But he held himself back, found a tree, and quietly hid. The person with Deadwood Daddy was Miaoyuyan. 34 years ago, Deadwood was very young and didn't look so sloppy. If it weren't for his green hair, he would actually be a little handsome. Muyu never knew Deadwood Daddy's true age. This was because it was very difficult to tell the age of a cultivator. At least, it was impossible to tell from their appearance. This was especially true for people from the Danding sect who knew how to use herbs to maintain their appearance. Lung Bingxue, who looked so young, had lived for 70 or 80 years. What surprised Muyu was that Deadwood Daddy was actually smiling. Deadwood Daddy often didn't give Muyu a good look. He was always scolding and disdaining him to death. Usually, if Muyu could see Deadwood Daddy smile, it was as rare as the sun rising from the west. However, beside Miaoyuyan, Deadwood Daddy actually smiled very gently. That kind of gentle gaze almost made Muyu unable to recognize it. I'm not used to it. I think Dad's smile is very scary. Muyu felt uncomfortable all over. Muyu had never seen that kind of affectionate expression before. I also think it's better for him to be a little more serious. Dragon Vine was often threatened by Dad to refine medicine. Although it wasn't real, Dragon Vine was still quite scared every time. Deadwood and Miaoyuyan both landed on a mountain peak beside the valley and found a rock to sit on. Ah, Deadwood, so this is the place you wanted to bring me to? This place is so beautiful. If I live here in the future, I'll definitely be very happy. Miaoyuyan giggled. Deadwood smiled and nodded. If you like, I can renovate this place. Your dream house. How is it? Muyu almost forgot that Deadwood Daddy used to be a stuttering old man. Perhaps Deadwood Daddy had chosen this place back then because of Miaoyuyan's unintentional words. Let me think. I hope to live in a huge tree. When I walk out, I'll see a small and exquisite tree spanning across this small river. That way, I can listen to the birds singing every day, watch the water flow, and cultivate under the tree. What a beautiful life! Miaoyuyan described excitedly. I know. Deadwood Daddy was still smiling. Muyu sighed slightly. The speaker didn't mean it, but the listener did. Deadwood Daddy later made Miaoyuyan's description come true. Chapter 669. The current relationship between Deadwood and Miaoyuyan was more like Deadwood had a one-sided crush on Miaoyuyan, while Miaoyuyan simply treated Deadwood as a friend. Muyu felt that Miaoyuyan was actually quite naive. Perhaps she didn't understand what love was. Just like Tianran, she was also very naive. She didn't understand what love was at all. At that time, she even taught Muyu to chase after Lan Ling. That pitiful Cabotin, Muyu still couldn't forget being kicked by Lan Ling. Deadwood and Miaoyuyan strolled around the valley, while Muyu stared at the man in the valley from the trees on the cliff. This was the man who gave Muyu a second chance at life with blood shrouding the sky. Muyu had an indescribable feeling in his heart when he suddenly saw the young him. Muyu, aren't we going to ask for directions? If we don't find Gui cherishing life, the soul conversion will be stolen. Long Ting reminded. But we can't ask Deadwood Daddy for directions, right? He doesn't recognize us yet, but Miaoyuyan is by his side. Now that the cultivation world is abuzz with the news of a pervert kidnapping a fairy, it would be strange if he didn't get slapped by Father Deadwood. Little Handsome said. This is indeed a problem. Let's leave this place. Muyu nodded. He was already very satisfied to be able to see Deadwood Daddy here again. Now, he could only find Gui cherishing life, and find out the whereabouts of the soul conversion. Only then could he use the soul conversion to save Deadwood Daddy. He carefully moved out of the valley along the trees. Then, he drilled out of the trees and directly soared into the sky. However, Mu Yu never expected that just as he was about to leave, a mysterious ripple suddenly appeared around him and blocked him. It's a formation pattern. Deadwood Daddy. Mu Yu was slightly shocked. When he came just now, he didn't notice the existence of a formation in the valley. Obviously, Deadwood Daddy's formation skills were far above Mu Yu's. Even Mu Yu didn't notice the formation he set up. You, who are you? The dead tree stared at Mu Yu with an unfriendly expression. The smile on his face had long since disappeared and was replaced by an angry expression. It seemed that he was very unhappy that his date had been interrupted by a third party. Mu Yu didn't notice the dead tree's array pattern, but the dead tree also didn't notice where Mu Yu was hiding in the valley. This made the dead tree's attitude towards Mu Yu even more gloomy. Mu Yu also looked at Deadwood Daddy in front of him, and a complicated feeling welled up in his heart. He really wanted to tell Deadwood Daddy the truth and tell him everything that would happen in the future. But Deadwood Daddy didn't know him, so it was useless to say anything. Hello, Senior. I just accidentally barged in. I'll leave now. Mu Yu couldn't tell Deadwood Daddy too much because there were many things he didn't know how to explain. Besides, he had already stepped into this time and space several times. Just in case, he couldn't have too much contact with the people in this time and space. You're that shameless bastard who peeped on me bathing. Miao Yuyan also came to the dead tree's side and pointed at Mu Yu in surprise. Mu Yu opened his mouth. He felt that something bad was about to happen. You're the one who peeped on Yuyan bathing? The dead tree stopped stuttering, and a murderous aura filled the air. The surrounding temperature seemed to have dropped rapidly, and a faint murderous intent locked onto Mu Yu. Mu Yu shivered. At this moment, Deadwood Daddy wasn't someone to be trifled with. In terms of array skills, Mu Yu was no match for him. No, this is all a misunderstanding. That, mistress, oh no, Fairy Yuyan, I said it's all a misunderstanding. Mu Yu hurriedly explained. Peeping on Yuyan bathing and still a misunderstanding? The dead tree's face was already filled with anger. The array patterns around them suddenly froze, and a strong force enveloped Mu Yu. This force was so strong that Mu Yu couldn't break free in time. I accidentally fell in that day. If I had a choice, I definitely wouldn't have fallen into the Saintis Pond. Mu Yu said bitterly. Ignorant brat, you deserve to die. A green poisonous fog appeared on the dead tree's hand, and instantly spread out in all directions, enveloping Mu Yu. Mu Yu complained incessantly. Getting into a conflict with Deadwood Daddy was the last thing he wanted to face. Miao Yuyan was the person Deadwood Daddy cared about the most. If he found out that Mu Yu was the flower thief, Mu Yu would definitely be skinned alive. Senior, please listen to me. I'm a good person. Mu Yu wanted to cry, but no tears came out. It was purely a coincidence that he had seen Mistress bathing. Who would have thought that he would still be blocked by the dead tree now? A green light flashed in his hand, dispelling all the poisonous fog that surrounded him. Then, he hurriedly pulled himself out and ran outside, but the damned array patterns blocked him again. Good person? Go and explain to the King of Hell that you're a good person. The dead tree waved his hand, filled with killing intent. The array patterns turned into chains that filled the sky, and every chain was suffused with green light, lashing out at Mu Yu. Fairy Yuyan, hurry up and help me explain. If you have something to say, let's talk nicely. It's impolite to get physical. The Hellion Kong's soul tool in Mu Yu's hand flashed, protecting his body. The Shadow Clone sword responded and blocked the oncoming chains, but the dead tree's chains were really too strong. Mu Yu still couldn't completely neutralize that huge force, and was directly swept away. At his peak, Deadwood Daddy relied on his array skills. Even Bai Jie didn't dare to provoke him, let alone Mu Yu. Now, Deadwood Daddy could be considered to have been merciful. The dead tree's chains were like a shadow, and in an instant, Mu Yu was tightly bound like a dumpling. Mu Yu tried to break free twice, but it was completely in vain. Chongqing, don't kill him. Maybe he really didn't do it on purpose. Miao Yuyan hesitated for a moment, then hurriedly said, That's right, that's right. We really didn't mean to watch Fairy bathe, Little Shuai agreed. Mu Yu really didn't want to fight with Deadwood Daddy. Firstly, it was impossible to defeat him. Secondly, he didn't want to have any conflicts with Deadwood Daddy. This person in front of him was very important to him. He hoped that after returning to this space-time, he could get along well with him. Yuyan, I won't allow anyone to do anything improper to you. This bastard must pay the price. The dead tree's expression was very determined. The array patterns suddenly turned into the purest domain, covering Mu Yu's entire body. There was no way out. At this moment, the dead tree had already comprehended the array skills domain that only people at the Great Ascension realm could comprehend. This time, he was serious. Mu Yu was suppressed by the might of this array skills domain to the point that he couldn't breathe. He hurriedly wrapped Mu Ling around his arm, filtering out all the poisonous gas. Then, with a flash, he merged into Mu Ling, breaking free from the gaps in the iron chains. The dead tree's gaze froze. He was very surprised. He didn't expect that someone could actually escape from his array skills domain. With his array skills domain, he had never failed to trap anyone. Who would have thought that it would be broken by an unknown person at this time? Senior, this is really a misunderstanding. Mu Yu was actually very difficult to resist Deadwood Daddy's array skills domain. The powerful part of the no way out domain was that it contained the most terrible poison in the world. It could corrode the spiritual energy of self-cultivators. Many people couldn't resist it. Although these poisons were useless to Mu Yu, it was still a domain after all. With the rules of the dead tree's domain, even if Mu Yu was immune to the poison, that kind of strong pressure wasn't something that Mu Yu could resolve. Who the hell are you? The dead tree suddenly shouted. In the blink of an eye, his domain transformed into all kinds of deadly poisons. He wanted to use his poisons to get rid of Mu Yu. Senior, I'm your disciple. Mu Yu directly passed through the poisons that were fatal to self-cultivators. However, he still couldn't escape, so he simply shouted. Disciple? Humph. No one has the right to be my disciple. I've never accepted a disciple. The dead tree said arrogantly. Mu Yu patted his head. He knew that empty words were useless, so he took out a bunch of poisons and threw them over. Then take a look at these poisons. Do you recognize them? Flowing light, pitch black. Bone-dissolving powder. Die without a place to be buried. Half-step fall with a smile. Half-step fall with a smile. Mu Yu had already memorized the Poison Sutra. Most of the slogans for poisons were added by him when he was bored. However, his method of using poisons was really inherited from Deadwood Daddy. The dead tree looked at the poisons that Mu Yu threw out in the air. The more he looked, the more shocked he became. Many of the poisons were personally created by him, and no one else knew about them. Therefore, when he saw Mu Yu use poisons to attack him, he was also stunned for a long time. Where did you learn these poisons? The dead tree was very angry. Not only did his formation domain fail to take down Mu Yu, even the poisons that he was so proud of were in the hands of the other party. How could he not be shocked? Can we stop fighting for a while and talk about this later? Mu Yu didn't want to talk about his origins. He only used poisons in hopes that Deadwood Daddy would stop and listen to his explanation. No need. Wait until I catch you. I have plenty of ways to make you tell me everything. The dead tree didn't want to give Mu Yu a chance to explain. With his eccentric personality, plus the fact that Mu Yu peeped on Miao Yuyan bathing, It would be strange if he would let Muyu go. Meeting the stubborn old man again, Muyu didn't know what to do. The dead tree's domain had its own rules. Muyu wanted to resist it, but it was getting harder and harder. If it wasn't for Mu Ling, he wouldn't be able to last more than a breath against Deadwood Daddy. Chongqing, don't make things difficult for him. I don't think he's a bad person. Miao Yuyan stood in front of the dead tree. The dead tree glared at Muyu. When he turned his gaze to Miao Yuyan, the killing intent on his body instantly disappeared. Yuyan, are you really going to let him go? The dead tree asked hesitantly. Yes. Miao Yuyan nodded. The dead tree revealed a gentle smile. Whatever you say. This gentle smile made Muyu tremble. He knew that Deadwood Daddy would only speak smoothly when he was angry. At this moment, he was smiling and not stuttering. It was obvious that he was forcing a smile. Everyone is happy, everyone is happy. That's great. Senior Deadwood, I really admire you. Muyu saw that the pressure around him had disappeared and laughed. The dead tree coldly glanced at Muyu, making Muyu feel as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. Fine, he was asking for a snub. Are you following me? Miao Yuyan asked with a frown. Muyu secretly glanced at the dead tree. He saw that the dead tree's expression had become murderous again. He hurriedly waved his hand. No, I'm just going in the same direction. Didn't you tell me that the gate of hell was in this direction? That's why I'm here. But I got lost and found that there were people in this valley. I just wanted to stay here and ask for directions. Liar! The dead tree snorted. However, Miao Yuyan said, to get to the gate of hell, you need to pass through here. You just need to fly in this direction. You should be able to reach it in about a day. Compared to the eccentric and bad-tempered dead tree, Miao Yuyan was much easier to talk to. Thank you, fairy. Then I won't disturb the two of you. Muyu grinned. Chapter 670. Muyu was startled. He took a deep look at Deadwood Daddy and grinned. My dad taught me. He's the most powerful poison master I've ever seen. No one in the cultivation world can surpass him in terms of poison technique. He's known as the king of poisons. No one in the cultivation world can surpass him in terms of poison? A nobody dares to call himself the king of poisons? You're really short-sighted. Deadwood looked at Muyu with a face full of sarcasm. Hey, you're even provoking me, father. I'm talking about you. Muyu scratched his head, but he didn't say it out loud. He knew that Deadwood Daddy disdained the most powerful poison master, because Deadwood always thought that his poison techniques were the best in the world. If he dared to say that his poison techniques were the second best in the world, no one would dare to say that they were the best. Why are you immune to my poison? Deadwood's tone was still emitting a murderous intent. He could use poison techniques and formations to comprehend the terrifying no life in despair domain ability. So far, no one dared to provoke his no life in despair domain ability. However, this domain's highly toxic poison couldn't take down Muyu, whose cultivation was obviously not high. This made Deadwood feel very frustrated. Because we're handsome. Little Handsome interrupted in a timely manner. Muyu laughed. Little Handsome often shamelessly used his handsome appearance as an excuse. Muyu was already used to this. You're courting death. Deadwood's gaze once again burst with intense anger. Muyu hurriedly said, No, it's really my dad who taught me. My dad's poison techniques are as powerful as yours. They're both invincible in the cultivation world. Who does he think he is? How can he be compared to me? Deadwood said contemptuously. He's a thing. No, he's not a thing. No, he's... Muyu was at a loss for words. He actually didn't know how to respond to Deadwood Daddy's word. Aren't you my father? Long Ting and Little Shuai were already out of breath from laughing. Muyu couldn't help but laugh. He tried his best to hold back his laughter, but the more he tried, the more he wanted to laugh. This kind of thing really couldn't be explained. Senior, I can only say that sometimes you must not casually scold people, because you will never know who the person you are scolding will be. Muyu tried his best to keep a straight face and said seriously. What? How could he not be scolded for having poor poison skills? When you use flowing light, if you can gather 30% more spiritual energy, you can completely display the power of flowing light. Also, is bone-dissolving powder to be thrown around like that? Who do you expect to melt with this? The half-step fall with a smile was done orally. Did you expect anyone to catch it with their mouth? Is this what your so-called poison expert father taught you? How dare you call yourself the king of poison after learning such lousy poison skills? Dead Tree said angrily. Muyu opened his mouth. He didn't intend to use poison to fight against Deadwood Daddy in front of him. He only wanted to throw out more poison to make Deadwood Daddy stop. In the end, he was even criticized by his father. Senior, I really don't want to offend you. I'll take my leave. Muyu felt that if he stayed any longer, the ignorant Dead Tree in front of him would scold his future self. Although it was quite fun, Muyu felt a sense of guilt, so he planned to leave quickly. You still haven't told me why you are immune to my poison. Dead Tree's body flashed with runes, but he still didn't want to let Muyu go. His no life in despair domain was actually ineffective against a nobody? If he didn't capture such a good test subject for poison testing, he wouldn't be worthy of his title as the king of poison. In the past, Muyu was used by Deadwood Daddy to test all kinds of poisons because of his wood control. If he fabricated some kind of invulnerable constitution, then he wouldn't be able to leave this place. Because I have the Aguda's anaerobic grass. Muyu waved his hand, and a non-existent herb was forcibly created by him using Mu Ling. This herb was only 3 inches tall. Its leaves were green and its stem was black. However, the veins on the leaves were white, and it didn't look very special. The herb emitted a suction force, and it quickly sucked in all the poisonous fog in the surroundings. Dead Tree frowned and carefully examined the 3-inch herb in Muyu's hand. A trace of surprise appeared in his eyes. Aguda's anaerobic grass? Muyu said proudly, that's right. This is mine. No, my father picked it from a 10,000-meter-tall snow mountain. It can cure any poison. My father said that this herb grows an inch every 1,000 years, and for every inch it grows, it can cure 1,000 kinds of poison. It's called the 1,000 Poison Antidote. Senior, since your poison skills are so powerful, you should have heard of it, right? Muyu's ability to spout nonsense was top-notch. Dead Tree choked and his face turned ashen. He had just belittled the king of poison that Muyu had mentioned, and even scolded Muyu for being short-sighted. In the end, the other party took out an herb that he didn't recognize. This was simply a slap to his face. Of course it's me, humph. Dead Tree's eyes were about to burst into flames. He was a person who cared a lot about his reputation. He boasted that he knew all kinds of herbs in the world, but he had never heard of the Aguda's anaerobic grass. Furthermore, he didn't like to pretend to know when he didn't know, so he was now in an awkward position. I know that with Senior's knowledge, you must have heard of the Aguda's anaerobic grass, but you haven't had the chance to obtain it. I can see that Senior's heart isn't bad, and you definitely wouldn't do something like killing someone for it. How about this? I'll reluctantly part with this 1,000 poison antidote and give it to you for your research. In return, I hope that Senior will let me off. Muyu waved his hand lightly, and the Aguda's anaerobic grass was placed in front of Dead Tree. Dead Tree was especially tempted by this so-called 1,000 poison antidote. He had spent his entire life researching all kinds of herbs, and his obsession with herbs had long reached an unreasonable level. Now that such a rare herb was placed in front of him, it would be strange if he wasn't tempted. However, Dead Tree took a deep breath and didn't take the herb. Instead, he said coldly, The matter of you coveting Yu Yen is not something that can be forgiven by a mere herb, let alone a single aguta's anaerobic grass. Even if you gave me 1,000 of them, I would never forgive you. However, since Yu Yen doesn't want to pursue the matter anymore, I'll let you off for her sake. Scram. The next time I see you, I'll definitely kill you. Mu Yu sighed. His father was still as stubborn as ever. A rare herb could be said to be a treasure to his father, but he had his own principles. In his heart, Miao Yuyen's position was above everything else, and he didn't want to accept Mu Yu's gift. If Mu Yu's guess was correct, the next time he met Dead Tree alone, it would definitely be another great escape. Aya, how did I get blacklisted by my father after returning to the past? How unlucky, Mu Yu muttered to himself. He originally thought that if he met Deadwood Daddy again, he would try to find a way to get closer to Deadwood Daddy to make up for his past regret. Unfortunately, he ended up transmigrating into his master's wife's bathtub. He took one last look at Deadwood Daddy, and under Deadwood Daddy's murderous gaze, he hurriedly left in the direction Miao Yuyen had pointed out. The way Dead Tree scolded himself is so funny. Little Shuai giggled. Yeah, I was still thinking of how to make him scold himself more. Long Ting also liked to stir up trouble. That's not appropriate. If my father finds out that we're making fun of him like this, we can't avoid another round of scolding. Mu Yu was extremely helpless. He was trying to discern the path, and this time, he wouldn't get it wrong again. But my father's formation skills are really powerful. No wonder Bai Jie is so afraid of him, Mu Yu praised. After fighting with Deadwood Daddy, Mu Yu finally understood how deep this eccentric old man was. If he didn't have Mu Ling's protection, he would have been defeated by Deadwood Daddy in one round. Speaking of which, I find it very strange. He's already at the form synthesis stage now, but why is his cultivation still at the form synthesis stage after 34 years? Hasn't he broken through in 30 years? He wasn't an alchemist before, and he didn't have any wood dregs in his body. This doesn't make sense, Long Ting said curiously. Mu Yu also felt that something was wrong. Deadwood Daddy's talent was very high. He was able to comprehend the domain skills that only Mahayana stage cultivators had when he was only at the form synthesis stage. This kind of talent was really heaven-defying. It was impossible for Deadwood to not be able to break through to the crossing calamity stage in 34 years. Something must have gone wrong during this time. Maybe it's because of refining poison, but I feel that he didn't use his full strength when he attacked just now. Maybe his cultivation is far beyond the form synthesis stage. Mu Yu could only guess. They continued to fly in the direction of the Gate of Hell, and gradually entered a barren land. This was a barren plain, and the surroundings were cold and cheerless. There wasn't even a normal bird or demon beast in the sky. Only a few ravens flew quickly, and their black feathers fluttered in the air from time to time, slowly landing on the ground. The ground was bare, and there wasn't a single weed to be seen. Instead, there was some gray bone-eroding grass. This kind of grass could only grow in places with strong yin qi, especially places with withered bones everywhere. The air was filled with dense ghost qi, and it was accompanied by ghostly wails and howls. This should be the territory of the Gate of Hell. Mu Yu stopped behind a black stone. He wasn't stupid enough to walk in brazenly. The Gate of Hell was one of the 8 gates after all. It had a rich heritage, and it was impossible for there to be no sentries. After carefully circling around, he quickly discovered the ghost art array that the people of the Gate of Hell were most proficient in. Their sex protective array was obviously not set up by people from the Array faction or the Talisman faction, but by their own unique and strange ghost art. There were also people with profound array skills among the people of the Gate of Hell. The arrays they set up were very ingenious, and many of them could even be compared to the Array faction's array skills. The ghost art array on the periphery of their sect was very delicate, because it was used to detect souls. Every person of the gate of hell had a twin, so only people with more than 2 souls could freely enter the gate of hell. Otherwise, the protective array would stop them. It had to be said that this ghost art array was really delicate. In the cultivation world, other than the people of the gate of hell, no other cultivator could have a twin. This protective array directly ensured the safety of the gate of hell. Then how do we go in now? Little Shuai asked softly. They didn't have any twins, so it was impossible to barge in directly. They had to find a way to sneak in. There must be an entrance to this array, because many of the newly recruited disciples of the gate of hell don't have twins. Also, it's impossible that they don't welcome guests from other sects, right? Let's find the entrance first. When Mu Yu was deducing the ghost art array, he realized that he couldn't recognize this array skill. It was obvious that the ghost art array was different from other array skills. This gave Mu Yu a headache. He searched the periphery for a long time and finally found a strange place. It was a tattered tomb that looked like a crouching tortoise. The tomb was about 1 meter tall, and it was covered with bone-eroding grass. The tombstone was erected in front of him, and it was tilted to one side. There were no words written on it, and it looked a little lonely. Ordinary people would only see this tomb as a lonely tomb, but since it was something of the gate of hell, it naturally couldn't be seen through common sense. Mu Yu hid in the bone-eroding grass and carefully approached the lonely tomb. If he guessed correctly, this lonely tomb should be the entrance to the gate of hell, because the ghost aura here was the thickest, making people feel very uncomfortable. Chapter 671. There was a protective formation outside the gate of hell. This formation was unimpeded for any ordinary person from the gate of hell because they all had twins that could pass through directly. As for those who came from the outside or those who had not officially obtained twins from the gate of hell, they had to leave a way out. Mu Yu was certain that this lonely grave was the entrance to the gate of hell, but he had no way to verify it. He had been lurking around here for a long time and had already seen many people from the gate of hell appear out of thin air from the desolate plains. They left the plains, and there were also disciples from the gate of hell who had returned from outside who directly flew towards the plains. After passing through the ghost formation, they would disappear. There were so many disciples from the gate of hell coming and going that Mu Yu definitely couldn't force his way in. Although he didn't belong to this spacetime, the people here could still kill him. Facing such a colossal existence like the gate of hell, he still couldn't let his guard down. I know how to get in. Mu Yu looked at the disciples from the gate of hell coming and going from time to time. His heart moved and he left the lonely grave. He turned around and flashed in the direction away from the gate of hell. He followed a person from the gate of hell who had just come out of the gate of hell to do something. This person from the gate of hell was only at the out-of-body stage. He had a hurried expression and quickly disappeared into a forest, heading towards a city in the distance. The Japanese person's figure quickly shuttled through the forest. But at this moment, a tree root flew out from nowhere and directly wrapped around his body. Before he could react, he had already lost consciousness. This way, we just need to let him bring us in. Mu Yu looked at the person from the gate of hell who was in a daze and had already been controlled by the god's soul wood and smiled slightly. Are we going to hide in Mu Ling and let him take us through the formation? Dragon Ting asked. Of course not. Even if we hide in Mu Ling, the ghost art formation will still know of our existence. We must let it lead us in through the entrance, Mu Yu said. That array formation was very strange, and Mu Yu did not dare to take the risk. The god's soul would gave Mu Yu a preliminary understanding of this person's situation. The Japanese guy's name was Gui Qingliang, and he was the captain of the guards at the gate of hell. This time, he came out to find 17 souls that died at midnight. It was said that it was for a mysterious sacrifice. As for what kind of sacrifice it was, Ghost from Conscience's identity was not enough to know. Mu Yu then asked about soul transference. Unfortunately, This guy didn't know anything either. Soul transference was indeed mysterious. Only the upper echelons of the Gate of Hell knew about it. There are people from the Gate of Hell who are actually Gui Qing Liang. What a joke. Little Shuai happily gnawed on a bun. Dying at midnight, it doesn't matter if they were killed or died naturally, right? Dragon Ting asked in disgust. Mu Yu felt very disgusted with the way the people from the Gate of Hell did things. However, thinking that he only came here to find the whereabouts of soul transference, he couldn't interfere with the way the people from the Gate of Hell did things. After letting this person from the Gate of Hell lead him into the Gate of Hell, Mu Yu had to let Gui Qing Liang continue to collect the 17 souls. We have to hurry. Mu Yu pulled Little Shuai and Dragon Ting into Mu Ling. This was because if they delayed for a while, the people that Gui Qing Liang had his eyes on might change. Once the dead people changed, Mu Yu wasn't sure if it would affect the history of this spacetime. Mu Yu's guess wasn't wrong. To enter the Gate of Hell, one needed to pass through the tomb. Gui Qing Liang brought Mu Ling and quickly arrived in front of the tomb. He stretched out his hand and pressed on the tombstone. A dense ghostly aura surged into the tombstone. Very quickly, strange patterns appeared on the tombstone. Then, a gray light flashed and the tombstone slowly sank, revealing a pitch-black hole. This hole was very deep. It was a stone staircase that led to an unknown place. Gui Qing Liang had only come in through this path when he first entered. After that, he had been training in the Gate of Hell. It wasn't until he obtained his twin that he left for the first time. Gui Qing Liang hadn't used this path to enter the Gate of Hell for 20 years. As for how much had changed inside, Gui Qing Liang wasn't sure. Normal people from the Gate of Hell wouldn't use this path because there was no need for it. However, he still remembered the general route. However, Gui Qing Liang had said that there were people guarding the path below. Therefore, Mu Yu had to be vigilant. Fortunately, the god's soul could control people without them noticing anything. He felt that he should be able to fool them. After walking down the stairs, he saw a long stone path. Green ghostly flames hung on both sides of the stone walls, pulling Gui Qing Liang's shadow very long. The surroundings were very quiet. Only the sound of dripping could be heard from time to time. Gui Qing Liang walked through the long and narrow path. Then, a narrow wooden bridge appeared in front of him. On the other side of the bridge was a staircase that led upwards. In Gui Qing Liang's memory, as long as he walked through this bridge and stepped onto the staircase, he would be able to enter the Gate of Hell. The bottom of the wooden bridge was bottomless. There were countless resentful spirits floating underground. From time to time there would be extremely mournful screams. It was incessant. Listening to it made one's hair stand on end. Which ghost camp are you from? Why do you want to cross the bridge of helplessness? A miserable voice suddenly appeared behind Gui Qing Liang. It gave Mu Yu a fright. Only then did he notice that in a dark corner there was an old woman with a worried face. This old woman's entire body seemed to have sunk into the shadows. If she didn't make a sound, Mu Yu definitely wouldn't have noticed that there was a living person here. Beside the old woman was a stone basin. The stone basin was floating in midair. It was filled with a red liquid. There were even bubbles that made one's stomach churn. Around the stone basin were 4 large bowls. It seemed like they were used to hold the liquid in the stone basin. The old woman slowly stood up. She looked very old and her body was very thin. It was as if a gust of wind would take her life. However, the aura that was faintly circulating around her body made Mu Yu's heart palpitate. This old woman's cultivation had probably far surpassed the body fusion stage. The old woman at the Gate of Hell was called Mengpo. She was there to welcome the new disciples. Every new disciple of the Gate of Hell had to drink the soup of Mengpo beside her. As for the reason why, no one knew. Mengpo was leaning on a bone crutch. The entire crutch was filled with ghostly qi. Especially the handle of the crutch was actually a living person's palm. The skin of the palm looked very rough and was covered with calluses. The palm of the hand was facing up. It was in an empty grip. And Meng Po's hand that looked like dried orange peel just happened to be holding onto the hand on the crutch. It was a very strange phenomenon. It made people's hair stand on end. Gui Qingliang didn't know that he was being controlled. He only knew that he had to go through this path. That was all. As for why he had to go through this path, he didn't know. He felt that it was just a spur of the moment. Disciple is from the 17th camp. The reason why I'm going through here is because Gui Qingliang couldn't answer. He kept looking at the crutch in the old woman's hand. His heart was filled with shock. 20 years ago, Gui Qingliang was a new disciple of the Gate of Hell and drank the Mengpa soup. That Mengpa soup was said to be a soup used to boil the bones of the dead. Only those who drank the soup of the dead had the qualifications to become a person of the Gate of Hell. That taste was very terrifying. He still remembered it clearly. Gui Qingliang swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Even though he was a person of the Gate of Hell, he was very afraid of this Mengpa who guarded the Bridge of Helplessness. Because almost everyone had tasted her Mengpa soup. It was not a delicious thing. Mu Yu immediately made up an excuse for Gui Qingliang. When Disciple was carrying out a mission outside, my twin suffered a setback. I was unable to pass through the protective array, so I could only enter from here. Gui Qingliang quickly said. His eyes couldn't help but look at Meng Po's crutch. Mengpa coughed twice and nodded slightly. So it's like that. You seem to be very interested in my crutch? Mengpa continued to speak. This is my husband's hand. After I killed him and refined him into my twin, I really couldn't part with him. So I chopped off his hands and made them into crutches. Only this way can I be with him forever, hand in hand. I know. You told me this story last time. Gui Qingliang said in a trembling voice. Everyone in the Gate of Hell had heard of this story before. Because this crutch was too strange, it was like a loving old couple holding hand. Every new member of the Gate of Hell couldn't help but stare at the crutch. He wasn't scared because of how scary the story was. After all, the people of the Gate of Hell killed people without batting an eye. Chopping off a person's hands was nothing. The reason why he was scared was because when he first entered, Meng Po's soup had already become a nightmare for the people of the Gate of Hell. Even if he saw it again now, he was still very scared. Whenever someone looked at her crutch, Meng Po would play down the origins of the crutch. Of course you've heard of this story. I'm telling it to people who haven't heard of it, right? Fellow foreign cultivator, why do you want to enter the Gate of Hell? Meng Po's turbid eyes fell on an unremarkable grass on Gui Qingliang's shoulder. Damn it! I was actually discovered. Mu Yu's heart was slightly startled. Before coming here, Gui Qingliang had told Mu Yu about the Meng Po's soup and the Bridge of Helplessness. He originally thought that it would be easy to sneak in, but he didn't think that Meng Po was not easy to deal with. Anyone who wants to enter the Gate of Hell must be able to withstand the test of Meng Po's soup. This fellow cultivator, do you also want to become a member of the Gate of Hell? Meng Po wasn't in a hurry to force the outsider to reveal his true form. Instead, she picked up the crutch and slowly extended it towards the stone basin floating in the air. Mu Yu then discovered that the other end of the crutch was unexpectedly a shriveled orange peel-like hand. This crutch was pieced together by the twin Meng Po's two arms. One of the arms was used as a handle, while the other was used to support the ground. What made Mu Yu feel the most inconceivable was that the hand on the other end of the crutch could actually move freely. The hand on the other end of the crutch grabbed a bowl in the air, and then scooped out a bowl full of bubbling red Meng Po's soup. Meng Po then slowly extended the crutch in front of Gui Qingliang's eyes. If you don't drink the Meng Po's soup, you can't cross the Bridge of Helplessness, Meng Po calmly said. The more Mu Yu looked at this scene, the stranger it became. A crutch pieced together by two arms was already enough to make people's hair stand on end. Who would have thought that the arm on the crutch could also move? The hand on the crutch held the Mengpo's soup firmly in the air, giving a kind of thirsty feeling. Run! Mu Yu didn't care so much. He directly controlled Guiqing Liang to kill Mengpo, while he controlled Mu Ling to fly towards the Bridge of Helplessness. Without the Mengpo's soup, you can't cross the Bridge of Helplessness. Chapter 672. Mu Yu originally wanted to sneak into the gate of hell quietly. He could not cause any commotion, otherwise, he might alert the enemy and make the person who came to steal the soul returning to the heart unable to do anything. Then, Mu Yu would have wasted his trip to this time and space. Now that he had been discovered by Mengpo, who was guarding the Bridge of Helplessness, he had no other way out. He could only sneak into the gate of hell and take one step at a time. He also hoped that the thief sage who had obtained the soul returning to the heart would not be disturbed by the commotion caused by Mu Yu. Mu Yu had to know who this thief sage was. Only then would he know where to find the soul returning to the heart, after returning to his time and space. Mu Ling's sword turned into a green light and swept towards the Bridge of Helplessness. The Bridge of Helplessness was not long. It looked like it was only about 10 meters long. To Mu Yu, it was only a matter of an instant. But the moment Mu Ling crossed the Bridge of Helplessness, the surrounding scene suddenly changed. He actually came to the bottom of a mountain of bones. There were thousands of skeletons piled up here. Some of these skeletons were only half rotten, while some had turned into eerie white bones. It was as if he had come to an Azura hell. Fortunately, Mu Yu had experienced this scene many times. He was already used to the sight of skeletons and skeletons. He was experienced in dealing with these things, so he did not panic. Thousands of skeletons suddenly crawled up from the ground and pounced towards Mu Yu. These skeletons were wearing the clothes of the people from the Gate of Hell. It looked like they were from the Gate of Hell. Mu Yu quickly thought of a possibility. These skeletons were most likely the twins of the people from the Gate of Hell. One had to know that the Hellgate had always nurtured their disciples in pairs. When they reached a certain level, they would then let them kill each other. The one who survived would then be able to refine the other's soul into their own twin, and the twin's body would most likely be abandoned in this place. Mu Yu was right. These were indeed the twins that the people from the Gate of Hell had killed themselves. Their bodies were controlled by the ghost arts to protect the Gate of Hell. The Gate of Hell had developed for thousands of years. There were countless twins who had died. It was not surprising that such a huge mountain of skeletons would be piled up. However, these skeletons were pouncing towards Mu Yu. Looking at their aggressive momentum, they still retained their cultivation when they were alive. This was very troublesome. Mu Ling instantly turned into a towering tree and sent all the skeletons flying. At the same time, the pure death aura on Mu Ling's body instantly invaded the skeletons and devoured the ghost aura on the skeletons. What made Mu Yu the most vexed was that these skeletons did not lose their ability to move even after the ghost aura was devoured by Mu Ling. Instead, they relied on their instincts to pounce on him again. However, more and more skeletons pounced on him. Thousands of skeletons were endless. Even Mu Yu was a little overwhelmed. The densely packed skeletons pounced on him, but they could not be killed. Mu Yu was already very tired. The branches that Mu Ling turned into were torn apart by the skeletons. They grew out again and were torn apart again. There were simply too many skeletons. Mu Yu knew that he couldn't continue to waste time like this. He turned around and saw an empty stone platform behind him. That seemed to be the place where he came from. He could only fly towards the stone platform. When his feet landed on the stone platform, all the skeletons disappeared. What entered his eyes was the long and narrow Bridge of Helplessness. Under the Bridge of Helplessness was still a bottomless abyss. There were still resentful spirits drifting about. I already said that if you don't drink the Mengpa soup, you can't cross the single-plank bridge. Mengpo's walking stick was still holding the bowl of red bubbling Mengpa soup. She stretched it towards Muyu. Her expression was strange. She opened her toothless mouth and laughed mischievously. Muyu looked at Mengpa vigilantly. He found that Mengpa did not have any intention of making a move. Even when he rushed forward, Mengpa did not have any intention of stopping him. It was as if she deliberately let Muyu go to the mountain of skeletons to let him understand that there was no way forward. At this time, Gui Tsongliang was lying on the ground unconscious. He should have been taken care of by Mengpa. Can outsiders also drink the Mengpa soup? Muyu asked in a deep voice. He knew that this seemingly weak old woman was not as simple as she looked on the surface. At least, he did not have the confidence to defeat her. He now only had two choices: find a way to cross the bridge and sneak into the gate of hell, or leave this place. No matter who it is, only by drinking the Mengpa soup can they cross the bridge. Mengpa miserably smiled. Does a guest need to be like this? You are not a guest, so you must drink the Mengpa soup. What if I don't drink it? Muyu asked. From Gui Tsongliang's memories, Muyu knew that the Mengpa soup was not a good medicine. It was equivalent to branding the soul of every person who entered the gate of hell, binding the soul of the gate of hell's people, making them unable to betray the gate of hell. If Muyu drank the Mengpa soup, then he would be bound by the ghost technique. His end would be even worse. If you don't drink it, then let my old man feed you. Mengpa laughed mischievously. Then, a ghost figure appeared above her head and floated in the air. It was an old man wearing a black straw hat. His eyes were pale and had no pupils. He had a goatee and looked very sinister. Meng Po's twin was Duke Meng. He looked at Muyu expressionlessly. With a wave of his hand, the crutch in Meng Po's hand flew to his side. Then, the crutch in his hand separated from the middle and fused into his soul. Duke Meng's withered hand gently clenched. The bowl of Mengpa soup was also in his hand. He flew towards Muyu and splashed the red bubbling Mengpa soup in his hand, directly at Muyu. The Mengpa soup streaked across the air like a stream of light. Like a nimble snake, it coiled around Muyu's face and went straight for Muyu's mouth. Muyu wanted to dodge, but he found that a huge pressure enveloped his body, making it impossible for him to dodge. Damn it! This guy really is a crossing calamity stage cultivator. The soul weapon in Muyu's hand flashed with a tyrannical soul power, dissolving the pressure. His figure flashed and he retreated towards the exit. He couldn't fight with Duke Meng and Mengpa. Not to mention that he couldn't win. Once Muyu went all out, it would cause a huge commotion and attract more people from the gate of hell. At that time, it would be really hard for him to escape. The gate of hell was a real tiger's den. There were countless hidden experts. If Muyu was caught here, he wouldn't be able to return to his original time and space. Everything would be for naught. Muyu understood that he was too reckless to come to the gate of hell alone. The Mengpa soup that Duke Meng spilled turned in the air and continued to wrap around Muyu. At the same time, a withered hand reached out like a shadow, wanting to choke Muyu's throat. Thousands of tree branches suffused with the aura of death spread out in front of Muyu's eyes and welcomed the red viper-like Mengpa soup. The Mengpa soup nimbly shuttled through the gaps between the tree branches and actually avoided the entanglement of the tree branches. However, Muyu's tree branches weren't to be trifled with. Soon, dense leaves flew through the air and directly bound the Mengpa soup tightly. Then, the aura of death dispersed and the Mengpa soup immediately turned into a pool of blood that splashed onto the ground. Mengpa looked at the tree branches that filled the sky and stared fixedly at Muyu. You are Muyu Meng? Muyu didn't explain. He could only quickly leave this place and think of another way from the outside. However, Mengpa appeared in front of Muyu in the blink of an eye. She stretched out her palm and covered Muyu. Muyu could only helplessly retreat and land on the edge of the bridge of helplessness. Even the way out was blocked. Mengpa chased after him again. Muyu didn't hesitate to step onto the bridge of helplessness again and enter the mountain of corpses. With Mengpa and Duke Meng working together, Mu Yu was more willing to face these mountains of corpses. At least there was a chance of survival. After he entered the mountain of corpses, Meng Po didn't chase after him. Instead, the mountains of corpses covered the sky and surged over again. Mu Yu could only once again fight with the sky full of corpses. Countless corpses flew and the trees protected him tightly. All of you, stop! Just as Mu Yu was thinking about how to break free from the mountain of corpses, a calm voice reverberated throughout the mountain of corpses. Following this voice, all the skeletons stopped attacking Mu Yu. What's going on? Mu Yu frowned. He carefully removed the branches and found that all the skeletons had retreated and opened up a path. Mu Yu, look! That skeleton standing at the top, doesn't it look like Duke Meng? Xiao Shuai's eyes were sharp as he shouted loudly. Mu Yu looked in the direction Xiao Shuai pointed. Indeed, there was a figure without hands standing at the top of the mountain of corpses. Unlike the other skeletons, this skeleton hadn't completely decomposed. It still retained the appearance it had when it was alive. It was Duke Meng. After Duke Meng's death, he was sent here to deal with outsiders who didn't drink Meng Po's soup. However, Duke Meng didn't charge forward recklessly like the other skeletons. Instead, he stood there and stared coldly at Mu Yu. The Duke Meng on the mountain of corpses still looked alive? How was this possible? This place was filled with the skeletons of the twins. Duke Meng's soul had been extracted, so he should be dead. Mu Yu looked at Duke Meng cautiously. His heart was in turmoil. This old man could control the skeletons here? Duke Meng slowly walked in front of Mu Yu. He didn't have arms, but there was still a powerful aura circulating around his body. It seemed that death didn't hinder his cultivation. Why do you have such a powerful aura of death on you? Duke Meng asked calmly. Then why do you have consciousness? Mu Yu asked. Duke Meng's eyes flashed with a strange light. You're not from the gate of hell. Why are you here? Do you want to enter the gate of hell? Mu Yu didn't answer. He was prepared to deal with Duke Meng's attack. No one from the gate of hell could be trusted. However, Duke Meng suddenly said, I can help you enter the gate of hell. Mu Yu sneered. As a member of the gate of hell, why would you help me? Duke Meng looked deeply at Mu Yu and said, I'm not from the gate of hell. You're not from the gate of hell? Mu Yu was shocked. If he wasn't from the gate of hell, could it be that the skeletons here weren't just the twins of the gate of hell? You don't have to suspect anything. I'm only helping you because I need your help. You have such a powerful aura of death on you. You're the bane of the gate of hell. You can help me get my hand back. That way, I'll be able to leave this damned place. Duke Meng scanned the skeletons around him. You still haven't answered me. Meng Po clearly extracted your soul. Why are you still able to retain your consciousness? Mu Yu felt that Duke Meng couldn't be an ordinary person if he could control the skeletons here. However, if Duke Meng wasn't from the gate of hell, why would he be here? Why would he suddenly want to help him? Most importantly, this guy's soul had clearly become Meng Po's twin, but his body could still speak. It was very strange. Duke Meng pondered for a moment, and a look of contempt appeared on his face. I'm from the gate of life and death. Gate of life and death. Chapter 673. You're from the gate of life and death? Mu Yu didn't have any dealings with the gate of life and death. At most, he only met them when he was in the second layer of heaven and had his eyes on the white ape demon king. To some extent, the gate of life and death and the gate of hell were similar. They both had twins. The only difference was that the twins in the gate of hell had souls, while the twins in the gate of life and death controlled corpses. The gate of life and death's way of training their disciples was the same as the gate of hell. They trained two people from a young age, and when the time was ripe, they would kill each other and refine the corpse of the loser into their own puppet. If you're from the gate of life and death, how did you become Meng Po's twin? Mu Yu still didn't dare to take it lightly. It's hard to explain things like love. Duke Meng shook his head, as if he didn't want to recall the past. Mu Yu suddenly realized that the people in the gate of hell were also people, and they also had emotions and desires. Could it be that these two people hated each other because of love? A person from the gate of hell and a person from the gate of life and death fell in love. This is something new. I thought you were all inhumane. Mu Yu thought that these two sects killed people like flies, and there was no such thing as love. Thinking about Gui Xianyue, who killed his own father, Daoist Zhihua, and made him her twin, Mu Yu was disgusted by this kind of inhumane thing. Duke Meng heavily snorted. After calming down, Duke Meng continued to say, "In short, Meng Po and I were together because she fancied my soul. But what I learned was the gate of life and death's technique to control corpses, so even if I don't have a soul, I can still rely on corpses to survive in a special way, but it is also greatly limited." The world was big and full of strange things. The gate of hell and the gate of life and death were really two strange sections. They were like cockroaches that couldn't be killed. They always had a variety of strange means to survive. Then what is this place? This place is called the Twin Corpse Sea. After the people of the gate of hell kill the twins, they must place the twins' bodies in the Twin Corpse Sea. Only then can they ensure that the twins' souls can maintain the cultivation they had when they were alive. However, no one from the gate of hell dares to set foot in this place, because once they enter the Twin Corpse Sea, their suppressed souls will awaken and begin to fight for control of their bodies. Duke Meng snorted in disdain and continued, "That woman wouldn't dare to come here. If she did, I would definitely seize the opportunity to kill her." "You can kill her?" Mu Yu asked curiously. "Of course. The gate of life and death and the gate of hell's techniques are different. As long as I can get my hands back and maintain my body's integrity, I can leave this place and find that wretched woman to take back my soul and become a human again." Duke Meng's voice was filled with resentment. What happened was pretty obvious. A person from the gate of hell and a person from the gate of life and death fell in love, but Meng Po fell in love with Duke Meng's soul more. Clearly, Duke Meng's soul was much stronger than Meng Po's original twin, so Meng Po imprisoned Duke Meng in this place after killing him. As for cutting off Duke Meng's hands, it was probably to prevent Duke Meng from using the gate of life and death to seek revenge on her. Due to the restrictions of the gate of hell's twin, Meng Po couldn't destroy Duke Meng's body, so she could only carry Duke Meng's hands around as crutches. What was funny was that every time Meng Po met a new disciple, she would tell them about the origin of her walking stick, and then she would make it sound like she was deeply in love with it, so she kept it as a souvenir. "You want me to take back your hands? How is that possible? If I could beat her, would I still need to come here?" Mu Yu frowned. It was impossible for him to take the crutches from Meng Po, who was in the tribulation stage. Duke Meng said calmly, "You have a strong death aura, which is the nemesis of people from the gate of hell. As long as you agree to help me, I can help you enter the gate of hell." "How?" "All you need to do is bring me out of here and return to the Bridge of Helplessness. Use your death energy to help me kill Granny Meng. Then, whatever you want to do next will be up to you," Duke Meng said calmly. "How do I take you out of here?" Mu Yu continued to ask. "It's simple. Use your death aura to cover up my death aura, then I can walk to the stone platform and leave." Mu Yu shook his head. "I don't trust you. If you don't trust me, then wouldn't I be done for?" Mu Yu didn't have a good impression of the gate of hell and the gate of life and death, because these two sects, in some ways, killed cultivators to increase their cultivation. They had done all kinds of outrageous things, so there was no trust to speak of. When the time came, Duke Meng went out to deal with Meng Po and turned around to kill him. Then, wouldn't he become a fool? Besides, every time he was forced to cooperate with Gui Ziming wanted to kill him. Trust didn't exist among people from the gate of hell. The people from the gate of hell and the gate of life and death were about the same, so he estimated that they wouldn't be any better. If you go out now, that damned woman won't let you go. If you don't agree, then you can only be trapped in here forever. It's your choice. Duke Meng looked like he was going to eat Mu Yu. Being trapped here was definitely not something Mu Yu wanted to see, but he didn't trust the people from the Gate of Life and Death. This was inevitable. He had to find a way out for himself. Let me think about it. Mu Yu cautiously retreated to the edge of the stone platform. What do we do? Do we agree to his request? Little Shuai's voice echoed in Mu Yu's mind. The Japanese don't talk about honesty. I feel that the people from the Gate of Life and Death are similar. Dragonting said. But we have no other way. Oh right, Little Shuai, how much do you know about the Gate of Life and Death's corpse controlling technique? Mu Yu asked. Little Shuai shook his head. I don't know. It's the first time I've seen someone live after their soul was taken away. I can only say that the Gate of Life and Death's technique is very strange. They separate the consciousness from the soul, and the consciousness is attached to the corpse. That's why Duke Meng is still alive after being killed by Mengpo. What's the secret behind the twin corpse sea? If this place is so important, will destroying it be the same as breaking the arm of the Gate of Hell? Mu Yu thought about what Duke Meng had said. The existence of the twin corpse sea allowed the people from the Gate of Hell to freely control the soul twins. This is the land of extreme negative energy, and there's a powerful force guarding it. This force ensures that the skeletons won't be destroyed, so it's impossible for us to destroy this place. Otherwise, Mengpo wouldn't have let us barge into such an important place. Little Shuai sniffled. Thinking about it, the most powerful thing about the people from the Gate of Hell was that the twins had the same cultivation as them. Fighting one person from the Gate of Hell was equivalent to fighting two people from the Gate of Hell. If the twin corpse sea of the people from the Gate of Hell could be destroyed so easily, then the strength of the Gate of Hell would be reduced by at least half. The people from the Gate of Hell must have been very confident, so they dared to let outsiders enter the twin corpse sea. They discussed for a long time, but still couldn't come up with a good idea. Have you thought it through? Are you going to help me kill Mengpo? Duke Meng's gaze didn't leave Mu Yu. As soon as he spoke, the skeletons around them began to move again. Mu Yu pondered for a moment and said, Okay. However, I have to ensure my own safety, so you have to let me carve a formation pattern on your body. If you go back on your words, I will activate the formation pattern. At worst, we will die together. Duke Meng snorted and didn't care about Mu Yu's words. However, in the end, he still agreed to Mu Yu's request. In his opinion, Mu Yu's strength was too low. Even if he carved a formation pattern on his body, it wouldn't have much of a restraining effect. Mu Yu directly stuffed the powerful exploding core into Duke Meng's body and even carved a mysterious lightning formation pattern. Only now did Duke Meng become serious. Your formation skills are very good, Duke Meng said indifferently. Let's work together. You leave here and I will sneak into the Gate of Hell. If you don't kill me, I won't go back on my word, Mu Yu said indifferently. Humph. I'm not from the Gate of Hell. I have my own principles, Duke Meng said. Mu Yu didn't waste any more words. A powerful black, ghostly aura instantly enveloped Duke Meng and brought Duke Meng to the stone platform. The stone platform set up by the people from the Gate of Hell could prevent the skeletons from leaving, but Mu Ling's death aura just so happened to cover up the corpse aura on Duke Meng's body. Mu Yu returned to the Bridge of Helplessness and looked at Mengpo, who was waiting there. I said, only by drinking my soup can you cross my bridge. Mengpo's withered hand on her walking stick was still holding a bowl of red Mengpo's soup. Mengpo, you really are an ungrateful person. You deceived Duke Meng's feelings, cut off his hand and trapped it in the twin corpse sea. Don't you feel any regret? Mu Yu asked. Mengpo's body trembled. She looked at Mu Yu eerily. I have a good relationship with my old man. What nonsense are you spouting? Is that so? Is this how you treat me who has a good relationship with you? Duke Meng's figure was gradually revealed. Duke Meng looked coldly at Meng Po. Meng Po's expression changed greatly. "Old man, how could you? You can't. The corpse aura in the twin corpse C allowed me to survive. Shouldn't you return my arms and soul to me?" Duke Meng's arms were empty. He stared at the walking stick in Meng Po's hand. One of his hands was still tightly holding Meng Po's. "You don't have the right to bargain with me right now," Meng Po screamed shrilly. She put away Duke Meng's soul. She knew that it was unrealistic to use her soul against Duke Meng's body when facing Duke Meng. She rushed over while emitting a dense ghostly aura. Duke Meng turned his head and said, "Kid, lend me your death aura. Control it so it doesn't absorb the corpse aura on my body." Mu Yu hesitated for a moment. Mu Ling released a pure death aura and wrapped it around Duke Meng. Duke Meng controlled the death aura and turned it into his hands. Then, Duke Meng and Meng Po collided. The collision between the two was very intense. The powerful ghostly aura and the death aura tangled with each other. Duke Meng's death aura gained the upper hand and suppressed Meng Po's aura in just a moment. "Old man, you actually joined forces with an outsider to deal with me." Meng Po was shocked and angry. Under Duke Meng's control, the death aura was much more powerful than Mu Yu's. "Do you think I don't know what you're capable of? If I had taken precautions against you back then, how could you have killed me? You destroyed my twin. Now that I'm missing a twin, it's time for us to swap roles." Duke Meng's death aura had already surrounded Meng Po. The two crossing calamity stage cultivators were entangled with each other. But what was strange was that no matter how intense their spiritual energy fluctuations were, the entire cave remained motionless. Not even a sound could be heard. Chapter 674. The entire cave returned to its tranquility. The entire battle was completed in a flash. Duke Meng poured out all the hatred he had accumulated over the years on Meng Po. Meng Po fell to the ground and was on the verge of death. Duke Meng stepped on her. The death aura on Duke Meng's body dissipated and he returned to Mu Yu's side. The two arms on Meng Po's crutches automatically fell off and were placed on Duke Meng's shoulders. The people from the Gate of Life and Death were more like zombies. They were quite familiar with their own body parts. They didn't even need to use intermittent grass to reattach their severed shoulders. They just needed to shake their muscles and bones twice, and they were already intact. Duke Meng moved his muscles and bones. His shoulders made creaking sounds. It was very strange. He turned around and looked at Mu Yu. Then he shook his body with spiritual energy. The runes that Mu Yu carved on his body all fell off. Mu Yu clenched his teeth. Although Duke Meng hadn't fully recovered, he wasn't someone he could contend against. If Duke Meng wanted to kill him now, he wouldn't be able to do anything. "I'm a man of my word. If you want to sneak into the gate of hell, you just need to pour the blood soup on the bridge, and you will be able to enter." Duke Meng faintly looked at Mu Yu. Then he dragged Meng Po to the corner of the wall. Then he sat down cross-legged and began to adjust his breathing. "It seems that you are a man of your word." Mu Yu heaved a sigh of relief. He found the unconscious Gui Tsongliang and woke him up. Then, he controlled him to forget everything and continue to do his task. After that, he turned around and walked towards the stone basin floating in the air. The Meng Po soup in the stone basin emitted a fishy smell. The sour smell was unbearable. It was as if it had been rotten for many years. He followed Duke Meng's instructions and poured the Meng Po soup on the bridge. This time, when he stepped on the bridge, he didn't enter the twin corpse sea. "Brat, what do you want to do in the Gate of Hell? The Gate of Hell isn't a place you can enter as you wish," Duke Meng faintly said. "I have my own things to do. But if you capture Meng Po and still stay here, aren't you afraid that the people from the Gate of Hell will cause trouble for you?" Mu Yu said. Mu Yu didn't want to explain too much. He had helped Duke Meng capture Meng Po, which could be considered as seriously interfering with the daily routine of the Gate of Hell. He didn't know when the people from the Gate of Hell would discover that something had happened to Mengpo, who was guarding the bridge. If they discovered that someone had snuck in, the people from the Gate of Hell would strengthen the protection of soul to heart. Then the soul to heart might not be lost. This wasn't the result that Mu Yu wanted to see. However, Duke Meng wasn't worried at all. The people from the Gate of Hell won't find this place. Normally, only new disciples are allowed to enter. The other people from the Gate of Hell will leave directly from outside. Once I leave with Mengpo, the people from the Gate of Hell will discover that something is wrong. If you can come out of the Gate of Hell before I leave, then consider yourself lucky. Duke Meng closed his eyes and began to adjust his breathing. The people from the Gate of Hell normally didn't have to worry about anything. This was because the road was guarded by Mengpo, who was at the tribulation passing stage. How could they expect Mu Yu to appear? They also didn't expect that Mu Yu would help Duke Meng capture Mengpo. Mu Yu didn't reply. He directly walked across the bridge, stepped onto the stairs, and entered the Gate of Hell. When he came out, he still crawled out of a tomb. After Mu Yu cast an illusion array on himself, he stood on a barren plain. The ghostly aura here was incomparably dense. It covered the sky and the sun. Even the sun couldn't shine in. The plain was bare. Aside from rocks and some weeds with dense aura, there wasn't a single tree. This situation was very unfavorable for Mu Yu. Once he was discovered, his hiding place would be blocked. Mu Yu, I just thought of something. What do you think will happen if we use the death aura to bring all the skeletons out of the twin corpse sea? Xiao Shui asked curiously. I've also considered this problem. If we bring all the skeletons out of the twin corpse sea, then at least the people from the Gate of Hell won't be able to use the twin corpse sea to fight. However, this matter should wait until we return to our spacetime. He was currently in the past. Eliminating the people from the Gate of Hell was useless. It would only alert the enemy. When he returned to his original spacetime, he could consider this method if he wanted to deal with the people from the Gate of Hell. Mu Yu stealthily moved forward. Along the way, he saw many disciples from the Gate of Hell coming and going. They seemed to be busy with something. He had to hide his concealment array well and not let out any strange fluctuations. Right now, he was deep in the tiger's den. The slightest accident could lead to an irreversible situation. Then where should we go to find the soul returning consciousness? Also, we don't even know what the soul returning consciousness looks like. Dragon Ting said. We need to wait for the person who steals the soul returning consciousness and not steal it. Obtaining it in this spacetime is useless. Mu Yu carefully walked behind a relatively hidden rock and sat down cross-legged. He had been observing the ghostly figures hurriedly passing by. He only needed to look at their expressions to know whether or not something big was happening in the Gate of Hell. This was because if something as important as the soul returning consciousness was stolen, the Gate of Hell would definitely be in chaos. Gui Peiming must have snuck in here. He has so many twins on him. The ghost art array can't stop him. He knows his sect like the back of his hand. He knows where the soul returning consciousness is hidden. Let's see if we can find his tracks. Mu Yu said. Gui Peiming's goal was the same as Mu Yu's. He only needed to know who the person who stole the soul returning consciousness was. There was no need to pursue and capture the person. This was because after they left this spacetime, everything that Mu Yu participated in would be erased. Everything would return to the way it was before Mu Yu came here. Therefore, capturing that person would be useless. But the people from the Gate of Hell didn't even know who the thief sage was. How can we know his identity? Long Ting was still very worried. The mysterious thief sage who stole the soul returning consciousness was very powerful. He was able to steal a treasure under the eyes of the people from the Gate of Hell who were heavily guarded. The people from the Gate of Hell didn't even know what the thief sage looked like. This was enough to show that this person was definitely extraordinary. This will depend on luck. After all, we have the initiative now. The people from the gate of hell didn't know that someone would steal the soul-returning consciousness, but we know, so we can guard against him. Mu Yu's idea was very simple. If it really didn't work, there was still Gui Pei Ming. Gui Pei Ming wouldn't come here if he wasn't confident. After finding Gui Pei Ming, they could secretly follow him. I don't understand. The Gate of Hell is a sect with a deep foundation. We were able to sneak in mostly because of luck. How did that thief sage get in? Who is so powerful in the cultivation world? Long Ting continued. Do you think it could be the white-bearded old man? Xiao Shuai asked excitedly. The white-bearded old man he was talking about was Jian Yingchen Feng. Master should have already built the immortal confinement prison by now. His cultivation level has been declining. It's unlikely to be him. Mu Yu shook his head. Then it could be Xie Bulo or Array Heavenly Dao. Xiao Shuai continued to guess. Why are you always guessing what Array Masters do? Why don't you guess Dead Tree? He's also very powerful. Long Ting curled her lips. All of Dead Tree's belongings are in Mu Yu's hands. Do you think we don't know about the soul returning consciousness? Xiao Shuai retorted. It's hard to make a conclusion now. Don't forget that there's still the Shadowless clan in the cultivation world. I think the Shadowless clan is the most suspicious. Mu Yu guessed. Mu Yu didn't know much about the Shadowless clan. Bai Yetian's appearance was very sudden, and Helian Kong said that the Shadowless clan was established to avenge Jian Yingchen Feng. They had always been against the Silhouette Being organization. With such great power, it was actually reasonable for them to steal the treasure of the Gate of Hell. In addition, there were actually many powerful rogue cultivators in the cultivation world. Their cultivation levels were also very heaven-defying. However, rogue cultivators with high cultivation levels wouldn't casually show up in public, so it was difficult to say who this thief sage was. The only thing that was certain was that the person who could steal the soul-returning consciousness was at least in the tribulation passing stage, or even higher. However, what made Mu Yu feel helpless was that Gui cherishing life knew when the soul-returning consciousness was lost, but Mu Yu didn't know the specific date at all, so he could only wait. They waited for 7 days. They hid in a remote place and couldn't casually show up in public. This made Xiao Shuai and Long Ting, who were very active, feel very bored. Do you think the soul-returning consciousness was lost a few days ago? Xiao Shuai had always wanted to go out and bask in the sun, but this place had always been gloomy. No, if the Gate of Hell lost such an important soul-returning consciousness, then Gui Tsongliang would definitely know. There's no movement from the Gate of Hell, which means that it shouldn't be lost yet, Mu Yu said. In the past few days, Mu Yu had roughly figured out the terrain of the Gate of Hell. This plain was only the periphery of the Gate of Hell. Their real important place was the sinkhole in the middle of the plain. The sinkhole was like a circular crater that had been smashed by a huge meteorite. This sinkhole was bottomless, like an underground nest. Mu Yu didn't know what was below, but Mu Yu estimated that the diameter of this circular crater was 1,000 meters. As there were disciples patrolling the Gate of Hell every day, and there were many evil ghost techniques protecting it, Mu Yu couldn't get too close. He had been thinking about whether to think of a way to enter the sinkhole in the Gate of Hell. However, if the soul-returning consciousness was in the sinkhole, then it would be useless for Mu Yu to enter. This was because the mysterious holy thief would definitely leave the Gate of Hell with the soul-returning consciousness. This way, the chances of him waiting outside would be higher. On the 8th day, Mu Yu finally realized that something strange had happened to the Gate of Hell. All the disciples of the Gate of Hell began to be on guard. More and more people were guarding it. The Yin energy in the air became heavier, as though it was specially prepared for something. Mu Yu occasionally heard the disciples of the Gate of Hell discussing it. They seemed to be carrying out a very solemn ritual that required many souls as sacrifices to summon something. Thinking about how the gate of hell's soul-returning consciousness was about to be stolen, Mu Yu was certain that this ritual was probably going to rely on the gate of hell's treasure, the soul-returning consciousness. And that should be the time when the mysterious holy thief would steal the soul-returning consciousness. Over the past few days, many disciples of the gate of hell had been outside collecting souls that met the requirement. These souls had very strict requirements. For example, some souls had to be born at night, be exactly 9 years old, and die at night. There were also some souls that required them to have died a natural death, and they had to be at least 81 years old. For this ritual, the gate of hell had probably killed countless innocent victims. These people included cultivators and ordinary people. The only requirement was that their soul power had to be very strong. Although Mu Yu was very disgusted with the gate of hell's actions, he couldn't interfere with these matters. Those innocent victims had to die in order for the gate of hell's plan to proceed smoothly. At midnight on the 9th day, a gust of dense ghost energy suddenly emerged from the sinkhole and covered the entire barren plain. All the people guarding the gate of hell suddenly began to chant in a low voice, as though they were welcoming someone's appearance. Chapter 675. Ghost Chi spread all around, and countless resentful spirits screamed. All the disciples of the gate of hell who were guarding the crater knelt on the ground respectfully, looking very pious, as if they were welcoming the arrival of something. A black skeletal altar slowly floated up from the sinkhole. Layers upon layers of skeletal altars surrounded the altar. There was a ghost lamp hanging on each of the 4 corners of the altar, and the light was faintly red. From afar it looked like 4 huge and evil eyes, coldly watching everyone. Complicated inscriptions were all around, and these inscriptions were all shining with a gray light. From time to time, a light would flash across and fall on the altar. Every time an inscription lit up, the altar would also light up with a pale green light. Circle by circle, the light would spread out from the altar, and then merge into the darkness. Midnight came, and the ghost fog became gloomier and gloomier, covering the whole sky. Through the ghost fog, one could see that the bright moon in the sky had turned red, as if it was stained with the blood of the devil, and was about to drip into the human world. Obscure chanting came faintly from the bottom of the crater, and the sound was like a resentful spirit grinding its teeth. At first, it was incomparably mournful, but in the blink of an eye, it became very low, like a ghost who had not spoken for thousands of years suddenly laughing. The syllables were definitely not something that a human could make. The shrill whispers, the sound of nails scratching the tiles, the sound of bones breaking, the sound of flesh chewing, the sound of ghosts crying and wolves howling, and the sound of resentment. It was as if the most gloomy and terrifying sounds in the world were gathered here. The ghost fog in the sky began to change, turning into ghost shadows that were baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. The ghost shadows' faces were filled with pain and anger, and they unwillingly wanted to break free. But every time they were about to take shape, there would always be a gust of cold wind from the crater, scattering the ghost shadows, and they would disappear into smoke. Then other ghost shadows would appear, and they would be scattered again. The cycle repeated, screaming and whistling. The 4 ghost lamps on the altar that looked like the eyes of the devil suddenly emitted 4 red lights, which collided in the middle of the altar like fireworks. From time to time, sparks would burst and fall, and then a narrow black light suddenly rose in the middle of the altar. This black light seemed to be absorbing all the light that shone on it. It was as black as ink, and its existence could be felt even in the dark of night. No one could see what was inside. At this moment, a majestic pressure poured down like a mountain crashing down on everyone's chests, making it hard for them to breathe. The ghost fog in the air gradually transformed, and a human figure stepped out of the ghost fog. It was a gloomy and tall figure. He stood there as if he was the king of the darkness. All the ghostly fog chose to submit to him. He was wearing a hood, and his entire face was hidden in the darkness. No one could see his appearance, but it was this person who made all the disciples of the Gate of Hell shout in unison. Eternity falls, Ghost Lord lives forever. All the people from the Gate of Hell shouted this sentence in unison. Their voices were loud and uniform, indicating the identity of the man in front of them. The Gate Master of the Gate of Hell. How bold! The Japanese are really disgusting. Eternal life. Little Shuai curled his lips and said at the side. Mu Yu had already retreated. Ghost Lord's cultivation was very terrifying, even stronger than Hellion Kong's. He couldn't help but take him seriously. He had sneaked into the plains of the Gate of Hell. Other than some black stones, there were no other obstacles here, and there were even fewer plants. If he was discovered by Ghost Lord, it would be very difficult for him to escape. Ghost Lord stood quietly in the air, looking at the blood moon in the sky. The blood moon was slowly becoming round. Almost at the same time, the blood moon in the sky became full, and the dense ghost fog also instantly turned red. At some point, 4 protectors of the Gate of Hell had already stood around the altar. They were wearing red robes, and they started to chant. Every syllable that came out of their mouths would cause a ripple, and at this time, the pale green light on the altar would become a little stronger. The chanting sounded very familiar to Mu Yu. After chanting continuously for a while, Mu Yu suddenly reacted. It's the scriptures of the Moon God Hall. Mu Yu was extremely shocked. Long Ting nodded. When they were in the Moon God Hall, they had almost accidentally awakened something. At that time, Mu Yu realized that the scriptures of the Moon God Hall definitely couldn't be casually chanted. Otherwise, it would cause unimaginable consequences. However, these scriptures don't seem to be summoning something. Instead, they seem to be searching for something. I know, they are searching for the Moon God Hall and are preparing to resonate with the Moon God Hall. Long Ting exclaimed. Resonate with the Moon God Hall? But isn't the Moon God Hall sealed in the demon-subduing pagoda? Speaking of which, we are still in the demon-subduing pagoda's reincarnation seal. Little Shuai said. But the people from the Gate of Hell 34 years ago shouldn't know about it. Mu Yu recalled the situation caused by Long Ting's chanting of the scriptures. He vaguely felt that the sacrificial ceremony this time was probably to find the location of the Moon God Hall. At this moment, Ghost Lord suddenly spoke in a loud and solemn voice. With the blood spirit of the servant, sacrifice the light of the god, cover the peace of the world. Only by believing in obsession can one live forever. The Moon God Hall is powerful under the heavens, and blessings fill the world. The soul returns to the will of heaven, and can be reincarnated. Those who violate the Moon God Hall will have their souls scattered to the 9 heavens, without protection. The world begs for souls, and all souls have a home. The scriptures were like those of a cult. They used a brainwashing method to tell the disciples the principle of believe in Brother Spring, and you will live forever. Long Ting had translated it back then, but he didn't expect to hear it again here. Heavens! The boss of these Japanese people is the leader of a cult. He specially leads the Japanese people to do bad things? Little Shuai's face was full of disgust. As soon as Xiao Shuai's voice fell, the ghost fog in the sky suddenly emerged with lines of patterns, outlining the outline of a demon island. This demon island looked like a speck of dust in the vast sea. Then, the demon island gradually enlarged, revealing a golden and dazzling surface. At the center of the island was the Zhenyao Pagoda, shining brightly, illuminating the entire demon island. Spirits, return to your positions, Ghost Lord shouted. Then, countless spirits with dull eyes suddenly floated over from all directions and floated around the altar. These spirits were the innocent people that the Gate of Hell had been killing all over the place. There were no less than 10,000 of them. The people from the Gate of Hell had killed countless people for this sacrificial ceremony. Born in the morning, die in the evening, return to the east. Born in the morning, die in the evening, return to the south. Born in the morning, die in the evening, return to the west. Born in the morning, die in the afternoon, return to the north. Every time Ghost Lord chanted a sentence, the spirits around the altar would automatically float to their respective spirit lanterns, and the spirit lanterns would become stronger, and the surrounding atmosphere would become more solid. Soon, all the spirits had returned to their respective spirit lanterns, and then the whole altar suddenly trembled. The demon island in the sky above the sea seemed to be pulled closer by a mysterious force. The island gradually enlarged, and then the spirits on the island could be seen floating, controlling the bone warriors to fight and constantly cheering. At this time, Muyu suddenly found that Gue Yezi in the soul seemed to have noticed something, and suddenly raised his head and looked in this direction. It's Senior Gue Yezi. He's actually still on the Sea Demon King's island. When Ghost Lord saw Gue Yezi, his voice was a little surprised. Obviously, he didn't expect Gue Yezi to be on the Demon Island. The other 4 protectors also raised their heads in shock. After a while, one of them bowed and said, "Ghost Lord, since Senior Gue Yezi's soul is still in this world, should we contact him? Maybe he knows something." Ghost Lord pondered for a moment and said, "Gue Yezi said that he was going to find the Moon God Temple, and sure enough, he found it. Unfortunately, in the battle with the Sea Demon King 5,000 years ago, Gue Yezi wasn't lucky enough to escape. Now that we have the complete scripture of the Moon God Temple, we naturally have to resurrect him." Ghost Lord's gaze fell on the center of the altar covered by the black light, and his hands formed a complicated seal, and he lightly shouted, "Soul returning to heart." Are they finally going to use soul returning to heart? Mu Yu's heart was filled with excitement. He had come here to find the whereabouts of the soul returning sword, but he still didn't know what the soul returning sword looked like. Naturally, he couldn't wait to see its true appearance. Buzz. With a trembling sound, all the souls suddenly floated towards the black light in the center of the altar. The black light suddenly shot out and blended into the dense ghost fog, and the illusion of the demon island instantly became very lifelike. On the demon island, Gue Yezi's eyes became as dark as ink, as if he was aware that someone was using some kind of sacrificial ritual to summon him. He glanced around and quietly left the other souls on the demon island, and came to an empty seaside. "Are you the successors of the gate of hell of this era?" Gue Yezi looked at the vast sea, and his eyes seemed to pass through the vast space and time. He was actually able to talk to the people of the gate of hell. Muyu was shocked. The soul returning to heart shrouded in black light in the altar actually had such a strange ability? Unfortunately, Muyu still couldn't see what soul returning to heart looked like. "Senior Gue Yezi, we need the specific location of the demon island," Ghost Lord said in a deep voice. Gue Yezi shook his head. "I can't tell you the route to the island, but the island I am on is located in the east sea of the Moyen mountain range. You need to find the route to the island first. Also, soul returning to heart is the key to opening the Moon God Temple, and it is also the method to let the Moon God descend to the third heaven. Xian Jizi has suppressed countless members of the Moon God clan in the demon-subduing pagoda on the island. Quickly come to the island and rescue them." Ghost Lord frowned. "We can't enter the Moyen mountain range." Muyu knew why. At this time, the Moyen mountain range was already under the control of the immortal prison. Although he didn't know what cultivation level was restricted to entering the demon island, if the cultivation level was too low, it would be impossible to reach the island. Then find a way to enter. Also, when you come, be sure to bring soul returning to heart. Soul returning to heart can revive me, and the thousands of souls on the island can be completely controlled by soul returning to heart. They will be a great help to us. In addition, the Blood Realm Devil Puppet is also indispensable. There are very tyrannical skeleton soul tools on the island," Gue Yezi said impatiently. Ghost Lord was reprimanded by Gue Yezi, but he didn't refute. But at this time, soul returning to heart trembled again, and then the demon island's scene became blurred again. They couldn't hear Gui Yezi's words, and the connection seemed to be cut off. What's going on? Ghost Lord glanced at the center of the altar, and then his pupils suddenly shrank. He didn't know when a transparent soul had appeared in the center of the altar. This soul wasn't imprisoned by the ghost lamp at all. You want to use soul returning to heart to allow the Moon God clan to enter the third heaven? You people from the gate of hell are really unforgivable. This transparent soul belonged to a strange man who seemed to be in his 30s. His face was full of vicissitudes of life. His eyes glowed with a mysterious formation. Then, the formation rippled and merged with the black light in the center of the altar. Bang! With the altar as the center, a terrifying thunder and lightning exploded. The tyrannical power of thunder and lightning was like the light of justice in the world, and in an instant, the four protectors were directly obliterated, and even their souls couldn't escape. The power of this mysterious soul explosion was far above the crossing calamity stage. Who are you? Chapter 676. Don't even think about escaping. Ghost Lord struck out with his palm. Instantly, the wind and clouds changed. Ghost fog gushed out endlessly like the yellow springs. A tyrannical aura swept out and blasted on the altar. However, a green light emerged from the center of the altar, trapping the soul transference that was enveloped by the black light. At this moment, a figure covered in formation patterns appeared in the sky above the gate of hell. The soul just now wasn't a real soul at all. It was disguised by the formation patterns. After the self-destruction, the altar was destroyed. The person who appeared now was the real owner. This person's aura was very strong. It was actually slightly stronger than Ghost Lord's. Muyu frowned. Not only did he not see what the soul transference looked like, he didn't even know what this mysterious person looked like. What are we going to do now? Little Commander asked softly. Let's observe the situation first. I didn't expect Little Commander to be right. This person is indeed a formation master, and his formation skills are very powerful. Muyu looked at the powerful figure in the sky. The formation patterns on the other party's body were so strong that Muyu could only look at them in the dust. Who could be such a powerful formation master? It wasn't his master's aura, it wasn't Deadwood Daddy's aura, it wasn't Heavenly Array Dao's aura, and it wasn't Xieyolao's aura. Could it be Phantom Rain? However, Muyu had seen Phantom Rain in Enlightened Master Xianjizi's image before. Phantom Rain's aura wasn't like this either. He was very much looking forward to seeing this person's true face. The Ghost Lord had already begun to fight with the mysterious man. Spiritual chi filled the air, and the ghost chi covered the sky. With the help of the blood moon's brilliance, the ghost chi was extremely powerful, and it blasted onto the mysterious man. The formation patterns on the mysterious person's body flashed slightly and repelled Ghost Lord. The power of the domain instantly enveloped everyone in the gate of hell. Thunder dust. Tiny lightning runes floated out of the air and quietly drilled into the bodies of the people from the gate of hell. Every person from the gate of hell trembled violently. They straightened their bodies, and their eyes suddenly turned azure. Countless lightning bolts surged around them, and every person from the gate of hell let out shrill screams. The ghostly aura on the person from the gate of hell was quickly dispelled by the lightning. His entire body was covered in sparks of wind and thunder. Then, cracks appeared on his body, and each crack faintly emitted a blue light. Bang! 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 All the people from the gate of hell who were present were blown into dust by the domain. Their souls were scattered, and nothing was left behind. The domain also enveloped Muyu. If not for Muyu quickly entering Muling, he would not have been able to escape from this powerful domain. Thunder dust, using lightning to wipe out everyone in the domain in an instant. The only person from the gate of hell who survived was Ghost Lord. However, Ghost Lord also seemed to be heavily injured. He was not the mysterious person's opponent at all. Thunder Dust, this is a great vehicle stage, Almighty. Whose domain does it belong to? Muyu was shocked by the power of this domain. A great vehicle stage, Almighty used a domain skill to wipe out so many people in an instant. It was really terrifying. He only knew a few domains at present, including Deadwood Daddies, No Life in Despair, Taoist Master Xianjizi's, All Laws Return to Origin, the Formation Rune Stones Forbidden Technique Domain, the Sea Demon Kings, My Lord Rises and Falls, and Gomong's Life and Death in the Blink of an Eye. Each domain was very powerful. The thunder dust in front of him also shocked him. Muyu did not know how many great vehicle stage almighty existences there were in the cultivation world. However, he was sure that there were no great vehicle stage almighty existences among the people from the gate of hell. Otherwise, they would have rushed out and fought with the mysterious person. At this moment, the black light in the mysterious person's hand suddenly bloomed and blasted on the mysterious person. The mysterious person could not dodge in time and was forced to retreat. The mysterious person's breath instantly became chaotic. He was actually injured by the soul returning to the heart. What a powerful soul returning to the heart! I was careless. The mysterious person did not want to continue fighting. He turned around and tore the void, wanting to leave. However, at this moment, a ghost figure floated over from a distance and stood in front of the mysterious person. Ghost Chi emerged from his body and blocked the entire void. It turned out to be Ghost Cherishing His Life. How dare Ghost Cherishing His Life show up? Won't that disrupt the plan? Long Ting exclaimed. Logically speaking, people from the future could not interfere with the affairs of this time and space at will. Otherwise, it would lead to some unpredictable things. In this way, the truth of what they wanted to know might be changed. Several thoughts flashed through Muyu's mind quickly. He frowned slightly and finally realized, we all miscalculated. It was the right time for Gui Shifei to take action. Why? Long Ting asked in confusion. Think about it. After the mysterious person won the soul returning to the heart 34 years ago, so many people from the gate of hell could not stop him. Then, with Gui Shifei's cultivation, how could he know the identity of the mysterious person? It seems that he must join forces with the people from the gate of hell 34 years ago. Muyu did not think of this at first. He thought that Gui Shifei would secretly follow the mysterious person, just like he did. However, Gui Shifei only needed to help catch the mysterious person when he appeared. After knowing who the mysterious person was, it did not matter how history interfered. Because Gui Shifei's task was completed, he only needed to return to the original time and space. While Muyu was discussing Gui Shifei's plan, Gui Shifei had already attacked the mysterious person. Ghost hand sealing the sky. A ghost flag floated out from Gui Shifei's hand. It grew in the air and turned into a ghost shadow, covering the mysterious person's domain. It was another domain power. The difference was that the power of this domain did not seem to be pure. It seemed to be displayed with the help of the ghost flag. It was like a powerful person sealed the power of the domain in this ghost flag. Ghost Chi soared into the sky and instantly sealed the void torn by the mysterious person. The whole sky was like an indestructible golden iron wall, making it impossible for people to tear the void and leave. At this moment, the mysterious person's breath was rapidly declining. From time to time, his hand formed a powerful array pattern, sealing the soul in his hand that was covered by the black light. That black light was still constantly eroding the array pattern. The mysterious man's hasty seal seemed to be ineffective against it. He was unable to concentrate on sealing the soul returning to the heart, but the way out was cut off. Who are you? The person who asked this question was actually the leader of the gate of hell. Ghost Lord did not know Gui Shifei. Presumably, in order not to disturb the plan of the Gate of Hell, Gui Shifei did not warn Ghost Lord that there would be a mysterious person coming tonight to steal the soul. Otherwise, once Ghost Lord knew that someone was coming tonight, the mysterious person would not have a chance to make a move if he was heavily guarded. Now it's more important to capture this person and find out his identity. Gui Shifei waved his hand and the ghost flag fell into Ghost Lord's hand. Ghost Lord held the ghost flag and said in shock, "How do you have, Ghost Lord, capture this person first? I'll explain later." Gui Shifei had already retreated far away. This ghost flag was brought from the future by Gui Shiming. 34 years ago, the Ghost Lord lost the soul returning to the heart due to his carelessness. Therefore, he specially used vicious ghost arts and exhausted his blood to refine this ghost flag. In 34 years, Ghost Lord's cultivation naturally increased greatly. He understood where his shortcomings were 34 years ago, so with the help of this ghost flag, he was able to use the power of the realm. At this moment, the mysterious person was injured by the soul, so Ghost Lord had a chance to capture the mysterious person. Ghost Lord looked at Gui Shifei suspiciously. Then, without hesitation, he turned and flashed toward the mysterious person. He rushed forward and shouted angrily, "Do you really think that the soul of the Gate of Hell can be taken away by you so easily? Leave your life for me." Limitless Ghost Net. The Ghost Lord bit open the blood in his hand. Using the blood as a guide, it turned into a monstrous ghost chi. Tens of thousands of resentful spirits rushed out from the ghost flag, intertwining in the air. The white spirits actually connected with each other, forming an inescapable net, firmly trapping the mysterious person within. The mysterious person raised a sharp blade in his hand and wanted to rush out. However, the soul of the soul suddenly trembled and hit the mysterious person's chest. The mysterious person couldn't dodge and spat out a mouthful of blood. The sharp blade in his hand, which was originally incomparably powerful, quickly withered and slashed softly on the soul cage. It only caused a ripple, and the soul cage didn't move at all. The mysterious person's whole body was still covered by the formation pattern. He was attacked by the soul of the soul of the soul of the soul, and also had to deal with Ghost Lord's attack. He was already overwhelmed. Originally, the mysterious person was more than enough to fight the Gate of Hell alone, but the soul of the soul of the soul of the soul hurt him twice. "Leave your life behind." The ghost flag in Ghost Lord's hand shook again. Countless gray withered hands jumped out of the limitless ghost net formed by souls and grabbed at the mysterious man. The mysterious man kept dodging. However, every time he wanted to rush out, soul transferring to mind would always blast him, making him unable to use his full strength. "Mu Yu, what should we do?" Little Shuai asked quietly. "We can't let the identity of this thief sage be known by the people of the Gate of Hell. We have to help him escape." Mu Yu made a prompt decision. It didn't matter even if the mysterious man died tonight, because after Mu Yu left the past, the things he interfered with tonight would not happen. But the only difference was that once the mysterious man was caught by the people of the Gate of Hell, Gui Shiming would know the identity of the mysterious man. When he returned to the future, Gui Shiming would know where to find the soul of the mysterious man. But we are no match for the Japanese. Especially that disgusting ghost flag. Once we are trapped, we will be finished. Longting said. No, Gui Shiming has such a powerful magic weapon. He should have used it to deal with me long ago, but he didn't use it until now. This means that there must be a limit to this magic weapon. If there is no soul transferring to mind backfiring on the mysterious man, Ghost Lord is no match for the mysterious man at all. Mu Yu was waiting for an opportunity. As long as the mysterious man could hold on until the power of the ghost flag subsided, then he could think of a way to help the mysterious man escape. Ghost Lord was outside the inescapable trap, so his attack could enter the inescapable trap without any hindrance. Countless resentful souls of the tyrant condensed into powerful ghost claws under the ghost flag's refinement and grabbed at the mysterious man. Although the mysterious man was trying to resist the erosion of soul transferring to mind, he was still not defeated. The battle between the two was earth-shattering, and the power was boundless. The gate of hell seemed to have a big earthquake. From time to time, countless people from the gate of hell drilled out of the sky pit and looked at the mysterious man in the sky in bewilderment. But these people from the gate of hell could only stare at the side. This level of battle was far from what they could intervene. Only 4 crossing calamity stage elders rushed up, and together with Ghost Lord, they besieged the mysterious man. Gui Shiming was not idle at the side. 5 twins emerged from his body, and stood with Gui Shiming as the center. Each twin emitted a gray ghost chi. Their hands formed a complicated ghost seal. At the same time to time, strange soul shadows floated out of their hands and drilled into Gui Shiming's body. Every time Gui Shiming absorbed a soul shadow, the ghost chi in his body became stronger by a bit. From time to time, ghost shadows rushed into the inescapable trap formed by the souls. But the inescapable trap was gradually stabilized by the mysterious man, and trembled incessantly. Without a twin, the power can't be maintained. Gui Lao San, go! Gui Shiming shouted. Gui Lao San had already floated out, and rushed towards the people from the gate of hell outside the sky pit. A ghost scythe appeared in his hand. Like lightning, it shot out and sank into the chests of 7 severed soul stage people. It actually forcibly drew out the souls of the 7 the gate of hell people. Among them, the twins were not spared. They were directly swallowed by Gui Lao San. Gui Lao San's soul power surged again. He turned around and began to help Gui Shiming maintain the ghost net. And just as he returned, Gui Lao Si also left. He went towards the people from the gate of hell below, and began to devour the souls of the people from the gate of hell. In order to trap the mysterious man, the people from the gate of hell even killed their own people. Although it didn't matter if Gui Shiming killed the people from the gate of hell in this spacetime, those people from the gate of hell didn't know about this. They roared and immediately reacted. They began to resist Gui Shiming's twin and attacked their own people. But Gui Shiming was already prepared. The twins on his body seemed to be specialized in restraining their own people. Those people from the gate of hell couldn't resist at all. Without exception, they all became the resentful souls of the twins. And Gui Shiming's power also became stronger and stronger. Now is the time. Mu Yu had already rushed out, and the wind-wind heart-linking formation appeared. Xiao Shui shouted loudly, and a giant lightning sword soared into the sky. Blue electric sparks condensed from the dense ghost fog, circling around its body. The dragon vines wrapped around it, and the dragon's body was like an incomparably sharp sword aura, instantly cutting Xiao Shui's giant sword in half. The wood feather formation pattern had already enveloped the violent lightning formation pattern, and was rapidly compressing it. 5 lightning balls were violently accumulating power in his hands, waiting to be released. "Little devil, I'm coming to save you!" Mu Yu suddenly shouted. The lightning in his hand had already turned into a sword shape and rushed towards Gui Shiming's twin. Chapter 677. Mu Yu never thought that there would be a time when he would have to save the lives of the people from the gate of hell. But if he didn't save the people from the gate of hell now, these people from the gate of hell would become the power that Gui Cherishing Life used to maintain the limitless ghost net. In that case, it would be even more difficult for the mysterious thief sage to leave the gate of hell. The powerful and overbearing thunder and lightning blasted towards one of the twins. The thunder and lightning suddenly exploded. Gui Laochi had discovered Mu Yu, but because he had killed the people from the gate of hell, he had angered the people from the gate of hell. At the moment, he was busy dealing with the people from the gate of hell. He didn't expect Mu Yu to appear and was directly struck by Mu Yu's thunder and lightning. Bastard! How dare you! Before Gui Laochi could finish his angry shout, the violent power of thunder and lightning had already struck his body. His body immediately shattered like a piece of paper and turned into smoke that exploded in the air. Another twin had been killed by Mu Yu. The power of thunder and lightning was too overbearing. It was too strong for the people from the gate of hell. Mu Yu! You're courting death! Gui, cherishing life, shouted angrily. He had been paying attention to Mu Yu's whereabouts at the gate of hell for the past few days. He originally thought that Mu Yu wouldn't dare to appear in public at the gate of hell. But he never expected that Mu Yu would rush out at this critical moment. After Gui, cherishing life's twin, Gui Laolu, was killed by Mu Yu, he had to rely on the souls of the other people from the gate of hell to maintain the power of the limitless ghost net. But how could the other people from the gate of hell allow themselves to be killed by a stranger? Now that the people from the gate of hell and Mu Yu had besieged him at the same time, he felt threatened. This is the traitor of the gate of hell. Everyone, kill him! Mu Yu shouted, inciting the people of the gate of hell in this spacetime to deal with Gui Peiming. He was too lazy to care about what kind of predicament Gui Peiming was currently in. The other 4 thunderballs in his hand continued to rush towards Gui Peiming's other twins. Gui Peiming shouted angrily. He could only quickly take back the remaining twins. Otherwise, these twins would definitely be buried under Mu Yu's heavenly thunder. Boom! A white soul power appeared in Gui Shiming's hand, blocking all of Mu Yu's heavenly lightning. The heavenly lightning exploded, and the people from the gate of hell who were surrounding them were unable to dodge in time. They were all turned into dust by Mu Yu's heavenly lightning. Even the twins were unable to escape, and the limitless ghost net lost the support of Gui Shiming. The connected souls began to become unstable. The mysterious man's attack had blasted a shocking crack in the limitless ghost net. Ghost Lord had also discovered Mu Yu's sudden uninvited guest. He did not expect 3 people to come tonight. One of them came to help him, but the other 2 came to make trouble. Do you really think that the gate of hell is a place where you can be presumptuous? Ghost Lord, who was at the crossing calamity stage, glanced at Mu Yu's cultivation from the corner of his eyes. He was furious. Mu Yu's cultivation was only at the dividing soul stage. He relied on some power to reach the combination stage. How dare he come to the gate of hell to make trouble? How could he tolerate this? He flicked his finger, and a ghost chi swept towards Mu Yu. The ghost chi instantly turned into a sky full of silver skull needles in the air, and arrived in front of Mu Yu in the blink of an eye. Mu Yu did not dare to be careless. The ghost chi of a person at Ghost Lord's cultivation was not a joke to him. Xiao Shuai's lightning sword met the ghost chi in the blink of an eye, but those silver skull needles were too strong, and they directly annihilated the lightning summoned by Xiao Shuai. The heavenly dipper constellation array under his feet was about to be triggered, and Mu Yu flashed out. But when he appeared, the silver skull needles had already followed him, and their speed was far faster than the distance he could teleport. He had no choice but to meet them head-on. A wave-like array pattern lit up in his hand, like a water curtain wandering around his body. His whole body became somewhat close and distant. Array technique, so close yet worlds apart. The silver skull needles rushed into so close, yet worlds apart. Mu Yu extended the small distance infinitely, but the power of the silver skull needles was too strong. Mu Yu's so close, yet worlds apart only resisted for a moment, and the water around him was shattered. The silver skull needles stabbed towards his chest. Ding! At the critical moment, Mu Ling blocked Mu Yu's chest, and all the silver skull needles were blocked. However, the powerful impact also acted on Mu Yu's body, and he was sent flying. Mu Yu felt as if he had been hit in the chest by a mountain. His whole body trembled, and the blood in his body kept rolling. The meridians in his body also showed signs of tearing. A crossing calamity stage cultivator's casual attack is so powerful. It's too scary. Mu Yu clenched his teeth. The black and white spiritual energy kept flowing in his body, repairing his injured meridians. However, the silver skull needles were not removed. They were unable to pierce through Mu Ling, but they pushed Mu Ling away and continued to head towards Mu Yu. Mu Yu's hands quickly drew circles of mysterious array patterns in front of his chest. The array patterns automatically melted, forming a black whirlpool, and swallowed all the silver skull needles. However, his expression suddenly changed. He wanted to use wind to transfer the silver skull needles, but he realized that with his cultivation level, he was unable to transfer such a terrifying ghost technique. "Little Handsome!" Mu Yu lightly shouted. Little Handsome instantly understood what he had to do. Its body turned into a white shadow and also entered the black whirlpool. It ate all the silver skull needles in one bite. Mu Yu resolved the pressure of the skull silver needle. In a hurry, a white formation vortex appeared on the left side, and Xiao Shui was thrown out. Its whole body was exuding a black ghostly aura, and it was gasping for breath with its tongue hanging out. "Are you okay, Little Handsome?" Mu Yu quickly asked. "It's too disgusting." After swallowing the crossing calamity stage silver skull needles, Little Handsome's aura instantly weakened. It was obvious that it was unable to completely remove it in a short period of time. Mu Yu felt very guilty. He quickly put Little Handsome into his clothes. However, Gui Shiming once again charged over. The blood-red long axe grew in the wind and chopped down at Mu Yu. The shadow-cloned sword responded. The array pattern in the air rippled. Tens of thousands of sword rays rose from the ground and collided with the blood-red long axe. The sword rays overflowed and sent the weak cultivators of the Gate of Hell flying. Gui Shiming flew into a rage out of humiliation. At this moment, he completely wanted to kill Mu Yu. He was a genuine body fusion stage cultivator. Every move and style was a huge threat to Mu Yu. Mu Yu had just dodged Ghost Lord's casual attack. Now, he had to face the body fusion stage Gui Shiming. The pressure he faced could be imagined. However, fortunately, because Gui Shiming had just extracted the souls of the people of the Gate of Hell, coupled with Mu Yu's shouting that Gui Shiming was a traitor, the people of the Gate of Hell did not believe Gui Shiming. Instead, they treated him as an enemy. And the people of the Gate of Hell could not determine whether Mu Yu was an enemy or a friend. After all, Mu Yu's heavenly thunder had just electrocuted a large number of people. Moreover, it was a bit similar to the powerful domain in the sky. However, he seemed to be helping the people of the Gate of Hell to deal with the traitor. For a moment they did not know what to do. Therefore, Mu Yu was able to avoid being besieged by all the people of the Gate of Hell. Feng Sun Luo Long Xiaotian. Since Long Ting's cultivation had advanced to the spirit-severing stage, the swordsmanship it used was far better than before. Its body was like a sharp sword qi. Standing together with the injured Mu Yu, it dissolved Gui Shiming's fierce attack. "Long Ting, cover me!" Okay. The Feng Sun heart-linking formation allowed Long Ting and Mu Yu to be telepathically connected. At this moment, Mu Yu was busy digesting the skull silver needles. Only Long Ting could help Mu Yu. Long Ting's body rose from the ground and became very large. Its body arched and beautiful dragon patterns appeared on its scales. A magnificent green light rose from the dragon patterns and gathered on the dragon spirit. Then, a majestic breath was spat out from its mouth and headed towards Gui Shiming. The breath turned into tens of thousands of sword forms in the air. Each sword form carried the sword intent that Mu Yu had comprehended. It actually blocked the blood-colored long axe. Mu Yu streaked across the air and the shadow sword appeared in his right hand. A powerful sword qi shot out in all directions. His left hand rose with golden formation patterns and wiped across the blade of the shadow sword. The shadow sword was stained with the golden formation patterns. The entire sword shook like a crouching dragon that could not wait to attack. In an instant, the shadow sword seemed to be extremely far away from Mu Yu. But it truly existed in Mu Yu's hand. Mu Yu's shadow sword had already stabbed out. But this time, he did not stab towards Gui Shiming. Instead, he stabbed towards the distant limitless ghost net. Humph! You want to ruin my plan? Dream on! Gui Shiming sneered. His blood-colored long axe was intertwined with the sword forms in the sky. But the remaining 4 twins on his body turned into afterimages and wrapped around Mu Yu's shadow sword. They wanted to block Mu Yu's shadow sword, but he miscalculated. The shadow sword had clearly just stabbed out and Gui Shiming's twins had already blocked in front of the shadow sword. The powerful ghost art had already wrapped around the shadow sword. However, the shadow sword's sword chi had already arrived in front of the limitless ghost net and stabbed down. What? Gui Shiming's pupils shrank. He did not know how Mu Yu used this sword. According to the speed of Mu Yu's sword, the shadow sword should only be flying halfway. Array technique, worlds apart. Thousands of natural motes were only separated by an inch. Limitless ghost net was originally unbreakable. But after Gui Shiming was defeated by Mu Yu, its strength could no longer be maintained. It was battered by the mysterious person. Originally, the limitless ghost net would be able to trap the mysterious man for a period of time. However, Mu Yu's sword chi pierced through the limitless ghost net from the outside like a fuse. Suddenly, a hole was pierced through the limitless ghost net. "Come out quickly!" Mu Yu shouted at the mysterious person. The mysterious person was slightly startled. He did not expect to meet someone who could help him here. Without any hesitation, he turned around and appeared outside the limitless ghost net. The Ghost Lord was infuriated. He roared and sent the ghost flag that blotted out the sky towards the mysterious person. The mysterious man used one hand to seal the soul-converged soul, which was shrouded in black light, and had no choice but to deal with the Ghost Lord's attack with his other hand. Because of the soul returning to the heart, even if he broke free from the limitless ghost net, he was still defeated by Ghost Lord. One of the 5 crossing calamity stage elders of the Gate of Hell had been killed by the mysterious person. But the mysterious person finally could not withstand the siege of these people and was heavily bombarded to the ground. "Kill that brat for me!" Ghost Lord saw that another expert of his sect had died. He turned to look at Mu Yu and pointed at Mu Yu angrily. Although these people of the Gate of Hell did not distinguish between friend and foe, since Ghost Lord had given the order, Mu Yu naturally became the target of all the people of the Gate of Hell. More than 10 people of the Gate of Hell at the form synthesis stage rushed toward Mu Yu. The twins were flying all over the sky. Ghost weapons surged and rushed toward Mu Yu with ghostly wails and howls. Chapter 678. The shadow sword light streaked through the air, and countless sword chi met the attacks of the cultivators of the form synthesis stage. At the same time, the branches and vines all over the sky quietly stretched out, and the pure death chi spread out, blocking the attacks of some of the cultivators of the form synthesis stage from the Gate of Hell. A powerful formation pattern spread out from under Mu Yu's feet, and spread out in the air like a spider web under the cover of the dense leaf. It wrapped around the feet of every cultivator of the Gate of Hell, and connected the 2 closest cultivators of the Gate of Hell to himself. Formation technique, wind, a silver lining. The 2 cultivators of the Gate of Hell smashed the leaves and found Mu Yu. They were waving the sickles in their hands, but they were surprised to find that their bodies were moving uncontrollably. The moment the ghostly shadows left his hand, they were all pulled into a straight line. However, they were only surprised for a moment, and then they came back to their senses. The ghost arts in their hands didn't stop at all, and they attacked Mu Yu in a straight line. The Big Dipper constellation formation under Mu Yu's feet was activated, and he went around to the back of one of the cultivators of the Gate of Hell, so that the two cultivators of the gate of hell directly attacked each other in a straight line. The two cultivators of the gate of hell were shocked. They were clearly attacking Mu Yu, but why did they suddenly attack each other? At this moment, because of the formation pattern, they couldn't dodge, and could only take the other's ghost arts head-on. Both of them used a killing blow, and this blow was no small matter. One of them couldn't block the other's ghost arts at all, and his body was directly shattered. At the right time, Mu Ling swallowed all the souls of the dead cultivators of the gate of hell. Although this kind of swallowing was actually useless, Mu Yu didn't dare to continue fighting. He saw that Ghost Lord had already attacked the mysterious cultivators, and his attacks were very ruthless. Obviously, he didn't intend to leave anyone alive. Mu Yu's leaves turned into flying feathers that filled the sky, forming waves of air in front of Ghost Lord, temporarily blocking Ghost Lord's line of sight. Ghost Lord waved his hand, and all the leaves were instantly destroyed. However, because of the short vision gap, and the mysterious man was on Mu Yu's side, Mu Yu quickly landed, helped the mysterious man up, and fled outside. Ghost Lord shouted angrily. He took a step forward and stood in front of Mu Yu. His speed was far above Mu Yu's, and catching up to Mu Yu was only a matter of an instant. "How dare you come to the gate of hell and behave so atrociously? Leave your life to me." Ghost Lord's killing intent soared to the sky, and he mercilessly slapped down again. Mu Yu didn't dare to be careless at all. He supported the seriously injured mysterious man with one hand and triggered the formation with the other. He suddenly shouted, "Explode!" Boom! The ground under Mu Yu's feet was like a volcanic eruption. The explosion of the form synthesis stage was endless, and the whole ground was blown into countless deep cracks. The powerful spiritual force instantly blasted up from the ground, and countless dazzling lights cut through the darkness, illuminating the gate of hell as bright as day. Mu Yu perfectly displayed the powerful blinding ability of the flowing poison by using the exploding elixir to guide the poisonous flowing light. In the past few days, Mu Yu had been hiding in the gate of hell not to watch the fun, but to secretly set up formation patterns in many places to prevent unexpected situations. He didn't expect that it would come in handy. Even the Ghost Lord was taken aback by the intense white light. How could he have expected such a sudden bright light? For a moment, even his eyes were dazzled. Just as Ghost Lord hesitated, Mu Yu had already taken the mysterious man to the side of the tomb and was about to get in. "Go to hell!" Ghost Lord roared. After all, he was a cultivator at the crossing calamity stage. Even if he was accidentally hit by the flowing light, he recovered his vision in almost a breath's time and continued to attack Mu Yu. Just as he was about to turn Mu Yu into ashes, a withered hand came out of the air and blocked Ghost Lord. It was the stooped and weak Mengpa. "Mengpa? How dare you collude with outsiders?" Ghost Lord shouted angrily. But he soon found that something was wrong. Meng Po's eyes were dull, and there was no trace of vitality on her body. Instead, she was emitting a corpse aura from head to toe. This was not the aura of someone from the gate of hell. Duke Meng slowly emerged from the void and glanced indifferently at Mu Yu. "It seems that the gate of hell is very lively tonight." Mu Yu was slightly surprised. He didn't expect Duke Meng to stand up and help him at this time. Looking at Meng Po's current appearance, Duke Meng must have refined her into his twin in the past 7 or 8 days. Duke Meng and Meng Po were both at the crossing calamity stage. This was a very powerful combination. Mu Yu didn't understand why Duke Meng stood up and helped him, even though he didn't have much of a friendship with Duke Meng. "Don't think too much. I don't like to owe people. If you help me escape from the twin corpse, I will help you escape from the gate of hell." Duke Meng stood with his hands behind his back. He understood Mu Yu's doubts. "Thank you." Mu Yu didn't argue. He directly rushed out with the mysterious person. Duke Meng, who was behind him, seemed to have a deep grudge against the gate of hell. He coldly snorted. Meng Po's body suddenly swelled up like a ball. Terrifying fluctuations rippled out, causing the faces of all the people from the gate of hell to change. How dare you! Ghost Lord was furious. Duke Meng sneered. This woman has trapped me for so many years. I don't want to keep her around as a hidden danger. Duke Meng actually wanted to make Meng Po self-destruct. One had to know that Meng Po was at the crossing calamity stage. If she self-destructed, the gate of hell would be blown up. Even the people from the gate of hell who followed her here wouldn't be able to escape. Ghost hand sealing sky. Ghost Lord waved the ghost flag in his hand. The power of the realm swept out again. His formation instantly sealed off the entire area. He couldn't let Meng Po self-destruct. Otherwise, the gate of hell would suffer unprecedented damage. Duke Meng had already retreated. He laughed in the distance. Why are you all so stupid? Why would I let my twin self-destruct? Meng Po, who had turned into a ball, returned to normal in an instant. The gate of life and death's ability to control the dead was terrifying. Even though Meng Po's body had been severely deformed, she had now returned to her hunched appearance. Meng Po turned into a shadow and disappeared into Duke Meng's body. At this moment, Ghost Lord realized that he had been tricked. He was furious and immediately chased after her. Mu Yu found the entrance to the tomb. He quickly crossed the Naraka bridge and rushed out of the gate of hell. After leaving the gate of hell, he immediately fled outside. The mysterious person on his back seemed to have fallen into a coma, and the soul transference had disappeared. It should have been temporarily controlled by the mysterious person and put away. Mu Yu wanted to see what the mysterious person looked like. However, the mysterious person's body was still covered with formation patterns. These formation patterns were very powerful and could not be removed by Mu Yu. After the people from the gate of hell chased out of the gate of hell, they found that Duke Meng and Mu Yu had run in different directions. Although they hated Duke Meng to the bone, soul transference was much more important than Duke Meng, so they directly chased after Mu Yu. Duke Meng stood in the distance and watched the people from the gate of hell leave. He did not want to continue helping Mu Yu. Ghost Lord's cultivation level was higher than his, and Duke Meng had not fully recovered. It was impossible for him to fight the gate of hell alone. Good luck to you. We don't owe each other anything. Duke Meng snorted and disappeared into the boundless night. Ghost Lord was too fast. In just a few breaths, he was about to catch up. Mu Yu's breath was firmly locked, and he could not merge into Mu Ling with the mysterious person. He could only run without stopping. Left. Fortunately, the mysterious person woke up at this moment. He weakly pointed a path for Mu Yu. Mu Yu did not have any plan at the moment. He could only turn left. After flying for a while, his body trembled slightly and he ran into an array. This is the mirror image array? Mu Yu was surprised. He was too familiar with this array. Looking at the structure of this mirror image array, it was set up with the help of the force of nature. He quickly deduced the overall situation of the array in his mind and had a rough understanding of this small mirror image array. This is the array I set up in advance. Follow my instructions, or you will get lost in. The mysterious person's voice was very weak. But Mu Yu interrupted him. I know the way. The mysterious person was stunned and a little doubtful. You know? But Mu Yu had already used his actions to tell him. His body moved quickly and the path he took was very stable. The mysterious person's doubts deepened and he remained silent. Not only do I know, I also know how to deal with this group of Japanese. Mu Yu had been condensing a powerful array pattern in his hand as he ran. The array pattern floated out of his hand from time to time and merged into the mirror image array. At this moment, Ghost Lord and the others also rushed into the mirror image array. They saw Mu Yu 50 meters away. Mu Yu also stopped and turned to look at Ghost Lord and the others. Boy, let's see where you can escape to this time. Ghost Lord saw that Mu Yu did not continue to escape, but he was not in a hurry. He just stared fiercely at Mu Yu, and his eyes fell on the mysterious person with a weak aura on Mu Yu's back. Leave that person, and I will let you live. The Ghost Lord did not sense the aura of the soul returning scripture, so he did not dare to act rashly. This was because the soul returning scripture was their sect's most valuable treasure. Although it was very strange, and even he, the sect master of the Ghost sect, was unable to control it, he knew where the weakness of the soul returning scripture was. He had to ensure its safety. Let me live? Oh my God! I'm so touched. I killed several of your people from the gate of hell. How can you let me go? Mu Yu moved in place. His steps were not big, and it looked like he was just strolling. He smiled slightly, suddenly stepped on the ground and ran toward the people from the gate of hell. Ghost Lord snorted. Do you want to die? Ghost Lord also rushed over, trying to catch Mu Yu. In everyone's opinion, Mu Yu was at his wits' end and had lost his mind. He actually ran toward them recklessly. But no one expected that just as Ghost Lord's hand was about to grab Mu Yu's throat, Mu Yu's figure directly passed by Ghost Lord and arrived in the middle of the people from the gate of hell. How is this possible? The people from the gate of hell were dumbfounded. They did not know how Mu Yu avoided Ghost Lord and went straight through Ghost Lord. That was clearly something that only a soul could do, but how could Mu Yu do it? After a moment of shock, the people from the gate of hell all rushed toward Mu Yu. However, Mu Yu passed through all the people from the gate of hell as if he had entered no man's land. All the people from the gate of hell bumped into each other, but they could not even catch Mu Yu's hair. Little guys, with such a powerful mirror array, how can you catch me? Mu Yu laughed. The array set up by the power of nature was very powerful. This array was naturally set up by the mysterious person in advance. Although Mu Yu did not have the ability to control the power of nature, he could improve on the original foundation of this array. The array pattern in his hand kept intertwining and merging into the mirror array. Then, he turned right and flew out. The people from the gate of hell wanted to chase after him, but they found that no matter how they chased, Mu Yu was still 5 meters away from them. They could not catch up. Array. Want to trap me? You're too inexperienced. The Ghost Lord raised his hand, and an eerie ghost chi immediately rushed out and slammed into the mirror image array. The mirror array trembled violently, but it was not immediately damaged. However, Ghost Lord hit the mirror array a second time and finally shattered the entire mirror array. However, Mu Yu, who was running in front of him, had long disappeared. Insignificant skill. Let's see where you can escape to today. Chapter 679. The oncoming Ghost Lord really made Mu Yu feel a huge pressure. Mu Yu's whole body was firmly locked by the Ghost Lord, and there was no way for him to escape. He felt that he really shouldn't have gotten involved in this mess, but he still condensed the so close, yet worlds apart formation and prepared to retreat after blocking for a while. Hurry up and step on that stone. The mysterious man used his last breath, and a formation pattern emerged, blocking the Ghost Lord's palm. Then, he spat out a mouthful of blood on Mu Yu. The powerful impact sent the two of them flying. At this time, Mu Yu stretched out his hand in time and grabbed a stone in front of him. Mysterious formation patterns flashed on the stone, and a strong tearing force came from the stone. A dazzling light flashed across the sky again, and then Mu Yu's figure disappeared in the formation pattern of the stone. Teleportation formation! Ghost Lord shouted and stepped on the stone. However, the stone only flashed, and there was no movement. It didn't teleport him away. At this moment, all the people of the Gate of Hell had arrived and witnessed Mu Yu suddenly disappear in front of them. His aura was also cut off here, as if he had evaporated into thin air. Search within a radius of 1,000 miles. Report to me immediately if you find any abnormalities. Ghost Lord shouted angrily. Yes. All the people of the Gate of Hell scattered and quickly carried out a carpet search with the teleportation formation as the center. In a forest 1,000 miles away from the Gate of Hell, the sound of a formation pattern breaking rang out, shaking the sleeping birds in the forest and blasting a big hole in the ground. Muyu sat on the ground, breathing heavily. When he was facing the Ghost Lord, who was at the crossing calamity stage, his nerves were tense. The consequences would have been unthinkable if he had been a second slower. He looked at the teleportation formation in front of him that he had destroyed with his own hands and wiped his sweat. If he hadn't destroyed the teleportation array the moment he was teleported here, Ghost Lord would have used the teleportation array to come here. This teleportation array was set up by the mysterious man long ago. After Mu Yu left the mirror image array, he instructed Mu Yu to come here. In order to break into the Gate of Hell this time, the mysterious man had set up many escape routes in inconspicuous places nearby. Obviously, he knew that this trip would not be so simple. The fact also proved that his approach was right. In fact, if Gue cherishing his life had not intervened, the mysterious man would not have failed tonight. You're really well prepared. You even brought out something as complicated as a teleportation array. Muyu couldn't help but praise. Generally speaking, the teleportation distance of the teleportation array was severely limited. The teleportation array that crossed two worlds, like the one from the third-fold heaven to the second-fold heaven of the Danding sect, had long been lost. At present, the only remaining teleportation array in the cultivation world was the short-distance one in the 50-mile garden in the south. The teleportation distance was not far. If one end was destroyed, the teleportation array would be ineffective. The arrangement of the teleportation array was very complicated. Even if Mu Yu wanted to draw it, it would take at least a day. Moreover, the teleportation distance was not far. Sometimes it was faster than flying directly. However, the advantage of the teleportation array was that it could directly cut off one's breath, making it impossible for others to track it. Although Ghost Lord's ghost art was very powerful, he had no way to know where to find Mu Yu and the mysterious man after losing their breath. The mysterious man pushed Mu Yu away and jumped back, distancing himself from Mu Yu. However, he seemed to be seriously injured. After only 2 steps, he staggered. He could only hold on to a tree, bending down and gasping slightly. "Hey, please, what are you doing? Shouldn't we run away quickly?" Mu Yu said helplessly. "I don't believe you," the mysterious man said. "I risked my life to bring you out of the Gate of Hell, and in return, you don't believe me?" Mu Yu felt that his good intentions were regarded as bad intentions. "Your purpose is not simple. It is not inevitable that you would appear at the Gate of Hell tonight. You must be aiming for the soul to return to the heart. The most important thing is you." Before the mysterious man finished his words, he suddenly looked around vigilantly. His eyes fell on a tree on the right side. "Don't you want to come out?" the mysterious man said calmly. What a keen insight! Gui Pei Ming slowly walked out from behind the tree's shadow, coldly looking at Mu Yu and the mysterious man. Mu Yu raised the shadow sword in his hand. He did not notice the existence of Gui Pei Ming at first. Thinking back carefully, when they were in the mirror array, there was no trace of Gui Pei Ming among the people of the Gate of Hell. Could it be that this guy had been waiting here for a long time? "How did you find this place?" Mu Yu asked in a deep voice. Gui Pei Ming laughed. 34 years ago, although we did not catch up with him, but the people of the Gate of Hell carried out a carpet search. We know the traces of the transmission array here. Do you think I don't know that he is waiting for you here? 34 years ago? The mysterious man didn't understand what Gui Shiming said, but Mu Yu understood. No wonder Gui Pei Ming did not go to the mirror array with the other people of the Gate of Hell. because he expected that the mysterious man would come here through the transmission array. Mu Yu looked around vigilantly. If Gui Pei Ming appeared here, then the people of the Gate of Hell were very likely to catch up. But it was quiet all around, only the sound of the wind blowing through the leaves, and Mu Yu did not find any trace of the people of the Gate of Hell. No need to look, it's just me, Gui Pei Ming said faintly. Mu Yu snorted. You want to deal with me and this senior alone? The mysterious man held the trunk and took a step back. He did not trust these two people. Now that this person who hides his head but shows his tail is already heavily injured, I alone will be enough to deal with him. It will save me the trouble of explaining things to my own people. Gui Shiming said. Gui Pei Ming, in order to trap the mysterious man, even killed his own people. If he brought Ghost Lord here at this time, he still needed to explain a lot of things, and it would waste a lot of time, so in order to save trouble, Gui Pei Ming chose to come here alone. In the cultivation world, there are not many people with such powerful array skills, and there are even fewer people who have reached the great vehicle stage. At first, we thought it would be Array Heavenly Dao, Deadwood Evergreen, Siebulo, Sword Shadow, Chunfeng, or Old Man Fuji from Azure Mountain. However, Siebulo, Sword Shadow, and Chunfeng wouldn't do such a thing. Moreover, we all knew about Deadwood Evergreen and Array Heavenly Dao's array technique. Old Man Fuji had already passed away. The Gate of Hell has searched for so many years, but we have never found this expert with the ability of Thunder Dust, which makes me very curious. Gui Pei Ming looked at the mysterious man, trying to find something from him, but the mysterious man hid his aura very well, and did not give himself away. Gui Pei Ming said to Mu Yu, You came here to find out the identity of this person, so why do we have to fight to the death? He is no match for any of us now, right? You're not wrong. Mu Yu admitted that fighting and killing was very tiring. Although he had a pure death aura and overbearing thunder and lightning, Gui Pei Ming's cultivation was not weak to be sent on this mission. The mysterious man panted and looked at Mu Yu. You really are in cahoots with the people from the Gate of Hell. He took another step back, and his aura became more and more weak. Mu Yu shook his head helplessly, and slowly stood in front of the mysterious man, and said calmly, But I have to protect his identity. The mysterious man was slightly startled. He did not expect Mu Yu to say such a thing. Gui Pei Ming's eyes darkened. Mu Yu, if you don't agree, I will summon Ghost Lord here. Although it will be troublesome to explain, I am confident that I can leave. As for you, I am not so sure. If the people of this time and space are killed by us, they are not really dead, but if you are killed by the people of this time and space, you will not be able to live. Mu Yu snorted. You don't need to scare me, let me think. You said that it is too troublesome to explain to Ghost Lord. I am afraid that you are not confident that you can explain it clearly? You know that the Ghost Lord 34 years ago would not believe this kind of explanation. Your end will not be better than mine. Gui Pei Ming was not angry when Mu Yu pointed out the truth. Mu Yu was right, soul return was very important. Even in the Gate of Hell, there were very few people who knew what it looked like. Ghost Lord, for the safety of soul return, would definitely kill Gui Pei Ming of unknown origin, and would not allow the news of soul return to heart to spread. What a pity! I thought that we could solve the problem peacefully like before. It seems that a battle is unavoidable. A blood-red long axe appeared in Gui Pei Ming's hand. Really shameless, every time we cooperate, we turn hostile. Cooperating with the Japanese is always not a good thing. Long Ting said. If we fight here, we will definitely attract Ghost Lord. Do you want to die? Mu Yu said. I feel that my chances of surviving in Ghost Lord's hands are higher than yours. Gui Pei Ming sneered. The blood-red long axe and shadow sword drew a cold light in the air, and the whole forest became austere. Formation patterns densely climbed all over the branches, and rushed towards Gui Pei Ming. Wind soon frontline swept over. Gui Pei Ming was already prepared. the blood-red long axe chopped down, the gloomy ghost Chi drew a deep gully on the ground. Mu Yu's formation patterns were unable to pass through this gully. Both of them tried to control their spirit power, to avoid attracting the people from the gate of hell. But at this time, a strange evil power suddenly came from behind Mu Yu. Mu Yu turned his head to look, but found that the mysterious man's hand once again shrouded in black light, and at this time, the power of soul returning was extremely unstable, as if it wanted to break the seal set by the mysterious man. This strange evil power forced Mu Yu and Gui Pei Ming to retreat, and even the mysterious man was sent flying. Not good. Stop this power from leaking. Quick! Gui Pei Ming shouted. His blood-red long axe had already gushed out a dense ghost chi, and instantly filled the sky above the whole forest. Mu Yu did not hesitate, the formation patterns rushed out, covering above the ghost chi. This strange evil power seemed to be able to shake a person's mind. Mu Yu actually had a bloodthirsty desire in front of him. Kill? No. Not now. Mu Yu forced himself to wake up. His heart was very scared. He almost lost in this evil power. The mysterious man forced himself to take a deep breath as the runes in his hands continuously surged into soul return to heart. He tried his best to seal soul return to heart. Soon, soul return to heart stabilized again. But the mysterious man seemed to be unable to hold on. The injuries on his body gradually worsened, and he fell heavily to the ground. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.